Gemini King, Mike in the night, and the Gemini crew.
About the world.
Give this page another turn, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike in through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike in through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike in through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world. Give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
I bid you all good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. You are tuned in to Mike in the Night. I want to thank everyone for joining the transmission and being part of this transmission that's been going on for years now. Oh yeah, and without you guys, this thing doesn't exist. Shoutouts to, well, okay, we got some comments already flowing here. Sylvian Cloyder from Florida, from Cutler Bay, and Diana Y. Yes, I saw your tag on Facebook with those newspaper clippings. Thank you. Tig Nim in the house, member of the channel. And Eder 120 Volt Gunter, 26 Gunter in the house. You are tuning into Mike in the Night. So recline your easy boy chair, pick a nice soft spot on your couch. Maybe turn in a little bit earlier and crank up the sound. Crack open a window, maybe a bit of sparkling water. Maybe have a tea, 'cause you're tuned in to Mike in the Night. Special shout out going to friends of the channel who are watching us in Iceland, and friends in the channel that are watching us in Norway and Denmark. I gotta open these emails and have them open on the side. Just too much on the go on this side. Also for Trey, who's watching this in Los Angeles, California. Mike in the Night is the thing. From Long Beach, California. Anyways, I don't know who's calling. I don't know who is calling. I just logged into the show. Sorry about that. I just going to go over a bit of news and a few things here. All right, here we go. I don't know. Okay. I have it set to do not disturb. So this might go on. This might go on steady. So sorry about that, guys. I'm really sorry about that. Okay. All right. Let's. We got a few people watching now. Okay. Let's go over to channel news and find out what's going on here. All right. Here we go, guys. Channel. Don't forget to come on here and join if you can. Here's the join the channel, please, if you guys can. My AdSense is like weird now. I'm not sure what YouTube is doing now. I think they're trying to purge us off the channel. So here you go, guys. I'm going to go over a few things on the channel news. Amazon cuts driving partners, condo development foreclosure. This CV virus, I did one here. Something's wrong with the video. It goes into this. And I have the video. See, it goes into this. So it starts like this. So I'm talking, and then every time I try to name something. Mike Martin's here. Mike Martin's channel. CV. And then it starts cutting me off here. Messages of. So I'm not here to cause. So then it goes into this. Goes into this. This is from today's video. Then it goes into this. Watch. It goes back into the video. Watch this. Right here. Added the doctor on Friday. Asked then what the I checked the video. The video's good. Disease. He said it's still very. So I tried upload. What happened with this video? There it goes off again, and then it comes back here. Down. Let me know what you guys think. So I try to upload it first 2 times, and then both times it's saying that the video is no good, or something's wrong with the video, that it doesn't meet the YouTube parameters or some crap like that. Then I go back, and I shorten it a bit, and then it comes up like this. Push play, halfway through. And then at the beginning it does this. And I have the original video, it's on my phone. Because I upload directly. I don't go on the computer and then edit it. It's from my phone right up top. So I'm not sure what is happening. So Jake, I spoke to Jake earlier today. Jake saying, algorithms love you, Mike. China didn't have a level 4 lab until 2003. Nani is saying, news in Africa. Sent you an article in Chinese. I can do a manual translate. News from Africa. Put the link inside here in the chat. If you could do that for me, I'd really appreciate it. So that video is, that's pretty, that video, I left that up so people could see. I have the original video. It does not do that at all. So there's nothing wrong. I've tried uploading it and they shut it down. People, we can walk through your cloud and mod your vids while it's being uploaded. Wow. Okay. 2020 BMD be the end of the CCP? I think so. I think the Communist Chinese Party, it's over. China versus Australia. Economic retaliation comes from China. And China's going to just start bullying countries and stuff like that. It's just what they do. It's whatever. Guys, Thursday nights, we're going to have a chat room. So we're going to put some relaxing. We're going to have some. Guys, don't delete comments. There's nothing wrong with Jake's comment. Do not delete comments, guys. Don't put Jake on the thing. I'm going to put him as a moderator here. There we go. So don't put people on hold, guys, like that, okay? Like, he's basically telling us what he's a security expert, so he knows what he's talking about. Anyways, okay, so here we go. One of my past projects, this is a little bit of a project I did back in the day. I had video footage, so I decided to throw it in. That's my moving around. Another shop I did. This is in downtown Vancouver in a big mall. So check that out. It's on my channel. Yeah, man, just a couple of vids. $2,300 on average one-bedroom rental in Vancouver. Via trains cancel across the country. What else? So Thursday nights, guys, I'm going to be doing a chat like this. You know how you guys are chatting? What I'm going to do going forward, every Thursday, if I can, if I remember, I'm going to leave a chat on for you, for everybody to just drop in on Thursdays. Hey, what's going on? Who's here? It was me, the Raven, and Supreme Cannon. All the big guns were on there last Thursday, just chatting about stuff and talking about layoffs and blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of good. You know what I'm saying? So you can't say C-Virus name on YouTube or we'll pull video. Yeah, they're trying to. I got videos here that it looks like they're gone. Yeah, they're not even here. Yeah, this one's here. Pandemic, Mike in the Night, still doing okay. It's still up. So some of them come and go. I mean, there's nothing really I could, call it cerveza. 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 Oye, quiero tomar algo. Tengo mucha sed. Quiero tomar una carona, güey. That's how you say it in Mexico. You gotta go like, hey, güey. Búscame una carona, güey. Tengo bastante sed. No manches. That's how you have to say it in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? I say. All right, so there it is, guys. Channel news. This CV virus thing is really weird. And I tried putting, like, again, I tried putting up the video 3 times, and then it cuts out into the video, and this thing freaked me out when I'm trying to talk about. Late last night, around 12 o'clock, then 12:30, and then at 1:45. It goes again. Watch this. Watch this. A pile of messages from people. A pile of messages from people, and it's just flooded with messages of basically. No, but it jumps in on key points, locations, times, places, and if you look, I'm talking about. If you could read my lips, you'll know what I'm trying to say there. Messages that are spreading. So I'm not here to cause panic or confusion or anything. I'm just here to make sure people are prepared. Yeah. All right, so let's move on, guys, back to the channel. So, guys, don't forget, please join the channel right here. And you get all these cool emojis and stuff you could use in the chat. And you get a little thing. You see Tig Nim right there? Tig Nim has a little a helmet with little wings on the side. So, unknown outbreak in Nigeria. Well, Africa always has outbreaks. You got to remember that. Gary saying, Mike, house market run again? No. Kevin Tavares in the house. And then Jake is asking, I wonder why they find this issue so sensitive. Muy sensitivo. I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know why. I mean, it's not like, you know, we're just talking. They don't even know what they're dealing with. Could it honestly, wholeheartedly be that they don't know what they're dealing with? I know, and I could tell you, that guy, that front run guy for the WHO that's in there talking about the coronavirus and we could not put this into... That guy is a fall man. He's a front man that's going to fall. They're putting him up there to fall. For him to step down. I bet you 100 to 1. Someone's saying, Mike, you can't sell a house in Red Deer, Alberta. No, not right now. Not with everything moving to Texas. Offices, everything's... All right. Guys, get over to the store and buy something. A mug. We're selling here and there. Nothing super major. But if you guys want to get on and support the channel, if you want to buy a mug, just go ahead and buy a mug. From me. It's 12 bucks. 13 bucks. Mike of the Night mug, new one. This is a nice one. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, guys, that's enough plug. Guys, I work hard. I do put a lot of time in this. So I appreciate everybody's patience to go through some of this stuff. All right, it is Mike in the Night. I want to thank, again, the I-10 truckers that have been, I guess, advertising me along I-10. Guys, if you don't know the Interstate 10 highway, it starts in Jacksonville, Florida, and ends in L.A. County, Los Angeles. It's one of the longest running east to west highways, I guess, if you want to call it that. It's one of the longest running interstate highways. There's other ones, but that one goes pretty far, right? So, and people on there have been messaging me all the time, talking about self-driving trucks, talking about this, talking about that. We got Walking Journey in the comments, guys. Don't forget to check out his channel. Walking Journey, 2-time world champion. Left Los Angeles, of all things that we're talking about. Left Los Angeles, was fed up with their whole ways, and moved to Texas. Bought some land, got a house for under 80 grand for everything, all said and done, and living debt free, counting money in front of the camera, hundreds and hundreds of dollars of bills. That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, we're going to do that on trends in the housing market. Jake is asking, explain to Canadians how we can buy property in the U.S. It's really not that hard. You just show up, buy it, put a down payment. It's not that hard for a Canadian. It's really not that hard. Yes, Walking Journey is asking a really good question. Does Canada have an interstate system? It does. We have the Trans-Canada. That's pretty much all we have. That goes through every province almost, I guess. It's Yonge Street, I guess. It starts as Yonge Street in downtown Toronto, and it works all the way up around Ontario, all the way up to Manitoba, all the way across Canada. All right, here we go, guys. Mike in the night. So let's get into some news before we kick off things tonight. So let's go over some soft news here from our friends over at Zito Hege. So before we jump into that, here is the coronavirus, the COVID-19 global cases by the Johns Hopkins CSSE. Here it is, guys. Total confirmed 69,256. You can multiply that by 6 or 7 if it's the regime that's telling us this. And then Singapore went up. Remember last week I said we got to keep an eye on Singapore. If Singapore gets outbreaks from 50, it was at 50 last time, it's at 72 now. This is a big deal. Lots of doctors are dying from this. The doctors originally that I guess weren't properly covered or properly there in a way to get their facilitate themselves, because they didn't know what they were dealing with. And I could bet you 100 to 1 they don't have an idea what they're dealing with right now. I can tell you that right now. Here we go. So Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, Thailand 33, South Korea 22. Look at that. UK, Italy's got 3. So I'm keeping an eye on the Philippines. Philippines has 3 now. Okay, so there's 3 outbreaks in the Philippines. I really want to go to the Philippines. And 3 confirmed, 1 recovered, 1 death. Really want to go away with the family. But man, I'm the one Japan. Japan is... Look at Japan. Holy... This is the ship with 355. Then you got the confirmed ones. 1 death, 12 recovered, 43. Now, there's all kinds of bizarro things they're talking about. Heart attacks and other things that this coronavirus could get you. So... Yeah, someone in France died. Let's go over to France here. Here it is, France. Where in France? Yeah, 1 death. 4 recovered, 12 confirmed. Now let's go over to let's see if they show where it is. The new corona. Yeah, you see in the interior here, we have one in a small town. There's 1 coronavirus outbreak here. Somebody arrived to the Vancouver. This is the video I made for you guys about the interior person that came with fever, sweaty when they arrived at the airport, and they were just go home, and they weren't taken into a hospital. They confirmed them to have the virus, and they just sent them home. So I made that video, and that video goes makes all those noises. So it's not showing us, and I don't know why they're protecting. I don't see it here. See. It's in the interior, but it's not showing. But when it's in a major city, okay, they could show it. 4 confirmed, 0 deaths, 1 recovered. But my question to you is, why aren't they telling us the interior one? They came from Shanghai. It says they came from Shanghai, and they were confirmed to have it when they arrived at the Vancouver airport. They were confirmed to have the symptoms of the virus, and the person was really out of it, and they just told him to go home, self-quarantine yourself. I don't know how that works. I don't know why. Maybe it's not as big as they're trying to play it to be, or they know something we don't. Supreme Canon in the house. We got Donaire in the house. Yeah, Jake Martin is right here. Almost as if they want an outbreak. We got the Macronicle in the house. Don't forget to check out his channel. We got Overlord. Overlord 1984. Lower a Scratcher. Where in Texas do you have the article of something proving it? Oh, somebody's asking something about something there. I don't know, man. Kevin is saying, Mike, give us the same info. Now give us the same info for this year's seasonal flu. Yeah, we can look that up. Nathan in the house. Spiffy BB in the house. We got all kinds of people dropping into the channel. to Mike in the Night. Okay, so where's this interior BC? So here's the article. So I'm going to go back to the, let me pull this article up, guys. It's important. So you can type in BC coronavirus. Okay. 5th case. BC, right? Now here, watch this. Here it is. 5th case coronavirus confirmed in BC. Woman of 30 flew into YVR from Shanghai recently, and she was very sick. And instead of sending her to a hospital to keep an eye on her, they just told her to go home. So I don't understand. But the problem is she went into the interior. Now, if you go here in Canada, so let's look at all of Canada. So we have Toronto, 2. Then we have 1 in London, Ontario. But what's scary about this, guys, is that... Let's find Canada here. Is Canada showing 7? But it's not showing us the interior. Why is this such a big secret? Why can't they tell us where this person is? And that's what I did my video this morning that got basically cut off or got screwed up, was because of that. And that's my concern. What is the big deal to tell us where in what city? We got Aquarius in the house. So how do we know that she hasn't gone to a store, used a taxi to go? I think she used a taxi, actually. But I don't understand how. It's right here. Here it is, right here. So this woman in her 30s flew into YVR from Shanghai recently before driving to her home in BC interior region. So it's several hours from the city. So it could be here in Merritt, it could be in Kamloops, it could be in Kelowna, it could be in one of the interior cities. My problem is, this is what I was like really upset about, was when I read the article that got cut off earlier today. When I read the article, let me bring it up here for you guys. When I read this article today on my channel, and it was doing this, I was asking, in the article, it was saying that they feel that they shouldn't inform the people 3 rows in front of her and 3 rows behind her. And I thought to myself, why not? Why? And that's what I was asking in the video, and it's all in here. It's all gone. It's on my phone. I'll try uploading it again tomorrow. I already tried. It said that there was something wrong with the video. Then I'm going to re-record the video again. It keeps doing this. So it comes back up. After the flight, added the doctor on Friday. Asked what the chances are of other passengers on the flight contracting the disease. He said it's still very... See, still very... I was getting to that. So this is the video here. You're talking... So, look at this video. YouTubers. Watch this. Here, Mike Martin's channel. CV. That's crazy, dude. Dudes. People watching the show. That's nuts. So, let's go back here. So, why is this such a big secret? Like, to tell us at least what city it's in. Every other city shows it. I mean... Look, you go into Japan, it shows you exactly where it is. I don't even know where this is way outside of Tokyo, right there. Then you got the cruise ship right there, right? You go here, it shows you where it is in South Korea, right? There they are, right there. And that looks like it's in a hospital. It's in one location, right? You go into China, it shows you all the locations where it's breaking out. It's getting really close to the Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, and India and Pakistan border up there. It's showing you in Thailand where it is. It's in Da Nang. It's in Phunam, and it's north of Bangkok. Like, it shows you everywhere where it's in. In Canada, it's like this big damn secret. I don't know why. Ben North saying to stop people stocking up and things running short? Maybe, yeah. Someone said, Trudy in the comments. Trudy! All right, back to updates here on the... Okay. All right. Hubei doctors warn even deadlier coronavirus reinfection causing sudden heart attacks. So people are getting reinfected with the same virus that they were cured from, and now they're getting a heart attack now when they get reinfected. The virus has outsmarted all of us. So we'll get into that article a little bit deeper in a few minutes here. Bloomberg considers Hill Dog for a running mate. That just ruined my day. That right there just ruined my day. I'm gonna have to get what's his name, the Raven, on the show to ask him to kind of weigh in on, because I know he loves Hill Dog. The geopolitics of biological weapons, part 2, efficiency and deployment. Man, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, I'm just getting bombarded with calls from the same person. I don't know. I just want to say, look, Okay, let's continue here. Planet killer, NASA on the alert for potentially hazardous asteroids fast approaching Earth. Hey, there's another one to throw in there, eh? Potentially hazardous asteroids are currently defined based on parameters that measure the asteroid's potential to make threatening close approaches to the Earth. Socialism, a brief taxonomy. A seemingly mild current like democratic socialism is just as dangerous as all the other members of the socialist family. Oh, they're doing all kinds, man. They're just really, really, really ruining it for everybody. Guys, if you see my do not disturb thing on my Skype, please just let me do the introduction and some news in the show, please. I don't know who this is. Luxury yacht slams into the most remarkable reef in the West Indies near Belize. Nobody cares. And Soros Quincy Project, a train wreck of neocon and humanitarian interventionists. Senate Dems question Trump's response to virus. Very grave threat to the world. Okay. Philippines want the U.S. out, and they're not alone. Oh, Burn Dog. Burn Dog punked by Russians by posing as... What? Greta's punked by Russians posing as Greta? Oh, probably like a voiceover IP calling them. You know, like sometimes I get the Ric Flair, woo, voiceover IPs and stuff. And then the Raven with the population. Raven, you got to get off the whole population thing and the whole global warming thing. Trust me on this. If there's ever a time that I need you to trust me on something, you need to trust me on this one. It's not about the population, it's about the separation. Okay? No, you're not right. We're not going to argue this. Do you know why? It's because this is what they're telling us. It's happening exactly as I said. It's not that. It's not the population. It never was about the population. They made it about the population. They made everything about anything to grab our attention, right? Global warming is bull, yeah, 1 quadrillion %. We're not even going to go into, I'm not even going to waste air time, YouTube's time, talking about GW. Tankers everywhere. Virus causes historic traffic jam across Asia supply lines. That's a big deal. A poetic justice is coming for the 1%. Yep, Pitchforks and torches. Tar and feather, if you know what I'm saying. Investors agree to unprecedented 95% gate. They hand $3 billion to Englanders. Millennium? I'm not even going to... The gold to ratio silver, so long the deflationary conditions persist, the gold-silver ratio may rise without limit as long as debts created beyond any ability to repay them. Deflationary conditions will rule. Of course, no one could pay that back. There you go. Supreme Canon says, doesn't matter if it's true. The answer is the same. Prepare yourself for the rough sailing. So, you guys need to see my view on some of this stuff. Like, when it was the whole global warming thing, when we talk about global warming and stuff, or it was originally that the Earth was going to freeze over. The Earth was going to get cold. I think it was back in the early 80s that we were going to go into a little mini ice age. Then they scrapped that. Then they went to global warming in the late 90s into the early 2000s, and they ramped that crap out of that, global warming, up until 2004, 2005, and then they kind of backed off when they saw that Florida wasn't underwater, and then now they changed it to climate change because the climate is changing, so you can't argue it anymore because the climate is changing. So if you guys think, you guys have no idea how our Earth is so persistent. Our Earth is so persistent, you don't have an idea. You can't fathom. 5 years without humans, everything will be taken back by nature. Everything will be taken back by weeds, plants, brushes growing in the middle of streets. Nature will take everything back once we leave. We live in a very resilient world. This planet is a lot tougher than they make it to seem. Our Earth is dying. No, it's not. It's powerful. We're nothing to it. We all return to the land. Everyone, every soul, everybody around you, everyone watching the show, everyone you spoke to today, everything you saw that was alive, one of God's creation, will return to the land. How long are we going to stay on this land? Heck, it's up to us. It's up to us. You have no idea. No idea how resilient this planet is. All right, let's get into this we got some articles here open. We got the posted the last hour coronavirus videos posted in the last hour. We're going to keep getting the last hour videos. Elderly man confirmed to have novel coronavirus, bringing total into Korea to 29. Let's look over to Korean news right now.
South Korea has reported another case of the novel coronavirus, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 29. The Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said Sunday that a man in his early 80s was found to have the virus after a checkup at a hospital in northern Seoul. He has been placed under quarantine. So far, 8 patients have been discharged from hospital following 4 recoveries, and quarantine on another patient.
See, I'm scared of the ones that get discharged from hospitals and then they like the one in the States where the guy was quarantined for like half a month. They let him go and they realized that he had it. The one that in LA, I think it was in LA County, somewhere in California.
Patient was lifted as of Saturday. They are soon set to be released. Nearly 600 people who've been showing symptoms are currently being tested, and some 7,300 others have been released from quarantine after testing negative.
All right. Let's from the last. Let's keep refreshing this so we could get updates for the last. I go to filter like this. I go to the last hour, and it just brings up the stuff from the last. Well, no, not 12 hours. Last hour. There we go. 56 minutes, 31 minutes ago, 42 minutes. Just to keep updated while we're live, guys. And we also got this baby here in case things start to go Out, out, out. But right now it's still summer in Australia, so the virus still, it's still gonna wait till the fall. If they don't clear this by the fall, you're gonna start to see Australia pop up. It's flu season right now here in the northern hemisphere. That's why you see it very. Look at the north. You see how in the north, but you look in the south where it's summer. See that? How it's so different. All right. So this is the one concerning article I have for tonight. Doctors working on the front lines of the novel coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak have told the Taiwan Times that it's possible to become reinfected by the virus, leading to death by sudden heart attack, heart failure in some cases. So this thing's coming back and getting you with a vengeance. Oh, it can kill you before? Watch out. So we got in the comments, see if I could find my man here on Skype here. I want to get my man Jake on the show just for a few minutes to give us a little bit of insight on what he's not in my Skype. I don't know why. Let me see if I could maybe I'm not sure if he could talk, but see if I could get him on my Facebook chat here. Had a good conversation with him this morning. Well, afternoon. So let's see what he has to say.
Hello.
Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Good. What's going on?
Lower your volume on there. I could hear myself talking back.
Hang on. There you go.
I feel like a radio host.
Well, you are essentially. This is the new wave, right? This is the new age.
Yeah. Okay, bud. So give us you're a professional. You've worked in these high level fields, security fields that you're not even allowed to mention, which is fine. But I just want to know, what's your take on this, buddy? I know you've been to these parts of the world and you've worked in these parts of the world. What's going on, in your opinion?
So, in my opinion, the panic mode, the panic button was hit when the mutations were detected, because apparently there's 42 different mutations of this virus.
Okay, there's 42 mutations of the virus. Continue. Hello?
Yes. So this is, you could catch it again. Essentially.
But doesn't the body become immune to something?
So we can pass it back and forth.
But doesn't the body become immune when you like? You get me?
I do get you. Influenza, for example, you get the flu all the time, right?
Right.
It's essentially the same disease, the same virus, but it mutates. Mutates slightly, tricks the body, and walks right back in.
Oh. But now
defeats your immune system. Your immune system is your security system for your body, right?
Okay. Now my question is, why is it coming back with a vengeance and giving heart attacks?
I believe that in your weakened state, not that I'm a doctor, I'm not, but in your weakened state, you'd be susceptible to anything else that came into your compromised immune system. So a nasty flu will run you down, but if you catch something more dangerous shortly thereafter, when you're depleted, essentially you're just asking for trouble, right? So this is like when SARS came out, people that already had the flu, they would catch SARS and then they would die because they couldn't handle both at the same time.
Okay. So
does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I didn't see it from that angle, because I would think you would get something, you'd be immune to it later, right?
Generally speaking, that's why they try and make vaccines. And vaccines are basically like ID documents for your immune system to recognize a particular virus or a threat. However, if it's wearing a blue cap instead of a red cap, you'll just let them by because you didn't detect it. That's how viruses always are able to get in.
And then these viruses could live on surfaces and could live on. You get what I'm saying, right?
Yes, apparently Lysol seems to work on the CV virus. This is what I had read. Because
Lysol,
it
as
is
in
a
like the disinfected Lysol germ killer, that one, right?
yes, exactly. The countertop stuff. Apparently, this will kill it. And I noticed when I had read this, then I saw in the Chinese media them having these decontamination stations and spraying down their cities. They were probably using Lysol in a desperate attempt.
What's going to happen? This is obviously a flu-like symptom type virus that's affecting the northern hemisphere mostly. If you look at the map, it's all in the northern hemisphere, aka flu season. What's going to happen when the southern hemisphere starts to pick up? When they get their summer? Do you see it?
Well, we're definitely going to see a hit in the economy, especially in tourism, right? And perhaps that might slow down the spread, but at any given time, there's like 2 million people in the air flying around in airplanes. It's just a matter of time before it spreads around the Earth, right? The issue they're having is the mutations, identifying the different mutations of the virus. That's what has them all panicked. Because you can make you couldn't make 42 vaccines at the same time.
Okay, so isn't there a way? So, like you said earlier, maybe tricking it by, even
Well,
though there's
tricking,
42 different 42 different strains of it. Like this
yeah.
is this
Well,
is
you think of it, the flu, right? We get the flu all the time. It's the same. It's influenza, and it's a different member of the family essentially that spreads through the human population, right? There's no cure for the flu, right?
understood. I like I said earlier, like a couple of weeks ago,
Yes.
like in early January, when I was saying, guys, this is actually a big deal because I get the flu. I've gotten the flu 30 times, 50 times in my lifetime. Okay, but I'm
Oh
still
yeah,
here.
me too.
I'm still here.
Yes.
But
Yes.
you get this thing. There's a chance you could die from it.
Well, if you look, I shudder to think what the numbers really are. This is the numbers that we were told. People get sick, people are infected, and people that died. It would take years for it to come out how bad it really is, just like SARS, right? But SARS was just sadly, just a warm-up for something like this. I would say the areas would be India, Pakistan, and Iran, because there's also 1.5 billion people right there. That's half the world.
Well, again, they're still in their colder season, and I think
Mm-hmm.
the summer season in the bottom there. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Let's take a step back, and I even asked you this earlier today when we spoke. Do you
Yes.
honestly, wholeheartedly think that governments are holding back information so they don't scare the population?
Oh, of course. There's nowhere is it written that they have to tell us the truth. Is it written anywhere they have to tell us the truth?
That is probably one of the most clever things that anyone's has told me today.
Well, you think about it. It's not written. It's not written in our
That's
money
right.
or our Constitution or Bill of Rights. Nowhere does it say that they have to tell us what's going on.
I get that. I get that. See,
Yeah.
I'm Roman Catholic, so I kind of go more on
Yes.
the Catholic side of being honest and trying to love one another type of thing. So I always go on those principles, and I'm like, wait, that's right. They could just lie to us anytime.
That's true. That's true. It's not written anywhere. And it's been my experience that might is right, really. We're probably seeing pressures about this coming pandemic, right? That we cannot see, right? If you notice, our leaders are off in Africa, like having a good time, partying,
That guy's still in Africa?
right? Last I heard.
He's been there for weeks.
Oh, I'm sure it'll never end, right? That's the traveling circus there. But we're like put on the back burner because Canada's always been a haven for natural resources, right?
Interesting.
So we're just on cruise control, out of the way. Well, this might make people very desperate, particularly large communist countries. Because
So
if they fail to contain it, like Obviously, we already have it. We can give it to each other for 14 days before it's even detected. So by the time someone comes up with it, it's already too late. It's already too late. They've already walked through the population.
What do you
It's just
think?
a matter of time.
Did you see my video I made earlier that's all beeped out and
Yes.
Okay, I was reading that article there about that lady that brought the virus in to British
Yes.
Columbia, Canada, and she just told them get a taxi and go to your house type of thing, just go home.
Yeah. I believe that they really have no idea. They really have no idea
So
what they're doing.
Canada's just arming people with flyers at the airport. They don't know if they're tricking or treating, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we're not equipped. We're not equipped. We've gone, our country's gone in a different direction away from the capabilities of doing that, because we'll have to make some difficult decisions if you really want to contain something, or at least have it in a controlled crash, so to speak, right? You control the airspace, the airports, all this kind of stuff. But Canada's not that kind of country. So we don't have the capabilities, really.
So we don't have the safety nets in place that were put in via SARS?
No, that was also that was more of a test, because they knew it wasn't that serious, right? But people, if you notice in SARS, most of the people that died were either in China or Canada.
Right.
They just we'll just put in contingency plans that they would have in place, and essentially wait for help. They're not capable.
Okay, so where do you see, so we know where we don't have to discuss that the Chinese government is obviously lying about the numbers.
They have a lot to lose.
They do.
They have everything. They have everything to lose. The Chinese people are not what they once were. They're opinionated. They have directional leanings in their country. If you've ever been to China, they're very, very opinionated about how they feel, and the government's like this thief in the night that comes and gets you, essentially, right? That's how they treat it in my presence. So I assume that the fear in that place would be the largest threat, because people do crazy things when they're afraid. They feel desperate.
McChronicle brought up a really good comment there in the comments saying, next year is the 100th anniversary of the CCP. Think of timing.
Yeah, brilliant man. He's right. They treated, the way it was explained to me by Chinese people was, our society is a land of dynasties, and this is the latest dynasty. You know, every 300 years or so, they'll have a lordship over the country, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. So they're treating it just like that. China always plays the long game. But the outbreak, because the foundations that the communists had laid out in their country can't handle it. Because it's very clear they can't control it.
The Raven's bringing up a comment saying, the virus doesn't bother me at all. It's just a distraction. The economic engine of the world is sputtering. That's where your focus should be. They know the outcome, and so do I.
He's probably right, because of by the time it was detected, right, it's already too late. And I feel that if it was a weapon of some kind, it would be far more deadly than what we're seeing.
I did a video about 3-4 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, where I was discussing about the Lunar New Year in China for the year of the rat, and I brought this up on Mike in the Night last week, the week before, and the week before that, where I kept saying they knew they were gonna quarantine that state. They knew. They gave everybody a chance to take off. 5 million people left that area of China, the Wuhan area, that state. 5 million people left. And then they closed the borders and closed the cities and closed the towns and start shutting down the economy after the people got out that could. If you look back at the Black Death, the Black Plague.
Oh, yes.
The people that could afford to get out to the mountains and live outside of the cities, those are the ones that basically lived because they had the money to get out and the money to sustain themselves outside of the bigger cities. And it's almost like it's the same kind of pattern we're seeing here.
Yes. They would, the people, the powers that be, they will make sure they're safe. They have ultimatum strength at all times, right? It's our way or the highway always. So they would already have their own. They'll look after themselves first, of course. I think the machines that we have in place, like, is just not capable of, because of how fast we travel around the planet now.
Exactly.
Right? You and I could, like I said, we could both be infected and gone in opposite directions of the Earth. And in that, 24-hour period, you would have came in contact with hundreds of people. And they're all going in hundreds of different directions. So those two people had something very, very dangerous. It's just a matter of time before it works through the population. So they wouldn't even try and control it, really. In the sense that you would think that they would.
So, Jake, in your field, you have a very high-level clearance in what you do, in very high-level clearance. And I know, you can't disclose much. But do you think, this is just an opinion, I don't want to get you in trouble, but do you think that this honestly was planned, or was it an accident? I honestly think it was an accident. I think
it was an accident too.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of time before viruses come out in the population and infect us. And it's they would of course plan for such things, but given there's so many people, and like do you think Canada could mobilize 50,000 healthcare workers? Like, we just couldn't do it, right?
Well, we lost all our healthcare workers to the brain drain, Canadian brain drain. Everybody moved south.
Absolutely, they did. Absolutely. And could you blame them, right? Because the financially, you have to look out for yourself, right?
So, survival. What kind of survival tips can you give us? If especially now, this is crucial. People living in condominiums or apartments. How could they do it? How could they? I mean, if you don't flush your toilet for 2 weeks, you're dead.
That's true.
So,
and cleaning practices that you would do in a controlled environment like a CDC center or a disaster emergency center, we wouldn't dare do in our house, like washing the bottoms of your shoes and disinfecting everything, right? You just, we couldn't keep up. You need an army to do that, to keep it that sterile, right? So you just keep your hands clean, cover your mouth when you cough. The same thing as any flu that you would have, right? Eventually it's going to work its way through the population, and we'll either adapt to it or we won't, right? And if you look through history, huge percentiles of our population were wiped out by disease.
So now what we're looking at, it's not about the population, it's about the separation now.
The separation.
Where basically...
Can you be more specific?
The ones that could run to the hills will be the ones that could, I guess, wing this out. Or have cottages up north or a private yacht.
I think that you'd want a private hospital. That's what I think you'd want. For your own people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I think, because, this disease doesn't discriminate, right? But if you could get off the planet or go to the moon for a couple of months, I'm just being sarcastic here, right? But you know what I mean, right?
You might find something worse out there. We've only just barely stepped into space, right? We have no idea.
So
we can encounter something far worse out there. Because we've been here for millions of years. We'll be here for, hopefully millions of more.
Do you believe what I said about the whole resiliency of the Earth? The Earth is resilient. 5 years without humans on Earth, nature will take everything back.
Look at the Chernobyl area. There's a guy called Bald and Bankrupt, and he does these. He backpacks through everything and does videos. Right, Chernobyl, and it looks like a medieval rainforest. It's amazing because there's nobody there to, and they have wild boars. They're all irradiated, but they're surviving there.
Right, but you give without humans. The Earth always has a time to heal, right? You know what I'm saying?
Even in an irradiated place, we're covered without us being there. Totally irradiated by radiation.
Mm-hmm. And it grows back.
Yeah, absolutely. It grows back. It's contaminated, but radiation's particularly deadly to humans because of our complicated physiology.
That's right.
So they could survive, and we couldn't survive for long, essentially.
Right.
Like an animal that has a life cycle of 10 years, you know what I mean? Cancer's not really going to be a big deal for him.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Any final words? Anything you want to give us? Any advice? Anything?
I would say always prepare for the worst, but don't be pessimistic about it, because you don't want somebody else to have that kind of control over your life. So that's, like I said, always have a contingency plan, but live your life and be happy.
Right.
That's the last thing I say.
Okay. Well, Jake, I appreciate you coming on and giving us a little insight on what's going on here, and
I appreciate you having me. I'm a big fan. I always watch your show.
Thanks, brother. You have yourself a great evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are. I think you're in the morning there.
Yes, just about.
Yeah. And okay, we'll stay in touch, and hit me up anytime. Okay.
Cheers. I'll watch. Don't worry. Cheers.
Thanks, brother. Bye.
Good night.
So that's my man Jake in the house. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn off the phone now. I'm just getting bombarded with somebody keeps calling me, and they're calling me on Skype. I'm just trying to let me just shut this off here. I was completely bombarded with somebody that keeps calling me. I'm not sure if they know I'm live, so okay. All right, let's keep going here. All right. So let's keep going here. Let's get the Raven on, because the Raven, we got to talk to the Raven. We got to get this set up with the Raven. Let's call our economist Anthony from downtown Detroit. Let's see if he picks up the phone. I want to talk to Anthony really quick to ask him. It looks like his Skype is on. I'm not sure. I just want to ask him what his angle is on this coronavirus thing. No answer. I'll just give him a message to call me back when he gets a chance. Was that Eddie just messaged me? Who else is messaging me here? So, all right. All right. I want the Raven. I can't find the Raven anymore here because what's happening is he changed his Skype, and I haven't saved it yet, and I can't. I have to save him. I got too many people on Skype here. I got over 1,200 people on Skype. So there he is. Yo, what's up, dog?
How's it going?
It's going good. Good, you called me. Good, I see you in the comments there. Thanks for calling me. I just have so many people on Skype. I don't even know who is who anymore. But thanks for calling. Okay, we got to get you off this whole global warming thing. I'm
not on global warming.
Oh, okay.
I don't. It's an unprovable argument. I won't take that argument. Can't prove it. Perfect. I would say we're probably screwing up the planet. We probably are, but you can't prove it, so you can't argue it.
Good,
you know?
Good. Because one, it's the climate does change, and we're not going to argue that. Climate changes. And they got us on that one. They got us on that one real good. We'll just call it climate change. And if they deny climate changes, they're nuts. And that's how they get it on a carbon tax. I don't know if you saw the bill I read the other day for my house, for my natural gas.
It's like $400.
Huh?
You told me, I heard some bills you had were like 400 or 300.
Yeah, $126 in carbon tax.
Oh, carbon tax, yeah.
That's just carbon tax. And then on my electricity bill is like $90 for carbon tax.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Every month with compounded interest, that could buy you a small portion of Africa after 10 years.
What's your heating bill?
Oh, about $400 or $500 a month.
Really? It's like +9 there.
Oh no, it's +9. No. It's just that 2 weeks we had in January that were really cold.
Oh, for 2 weeks. Okay. Yeah, mine's high every month.
No, this month is the heat's on set to 20, but it's not on because it's warm in the house and it's warm outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to bring something up real quick before we talk about the economic movement with this thing. Your friend, what is up with your friend? Now, Bloomberg is saying that he might have your friend running as a running mate.
Hell dog.
What the
I
hell is
can't
with Hilda? Can she
stand-
just go away?
You know what? I would have paid 10 grand for her not to be elected as president. That would have killed me. I wouldn't be able to live with that. I can't stand her. I just can't. The charity foundation, all the killing, all the crime, and she stands there and says people are going to be punished for what they've done. What have you done, Hillary? I can't believe it. I just can't believe that she walks around free. It's unbelievable.
So here's the article, guys. I understand, she's your friend, but
Yeah.
Bloomberg considers Hillary for a running mate, so Mini Mike and Crooked Hillary might join forces.
I doubt it. She's a criminal.
It's a new article.
Nah.
It was published 2.5 hours ago. But
Nobody's beating Trump. Trump's already been told that he's president
right.
in 2020. He's already been told that. He's been told a lot of things. He was Twitter feeding in 2011 saying that China is neither a friend nor an ally of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
He was Twitter feeding that back in 2011. You know why? He was building up an alibi for his trade war that he was going to do when he was selected to be president by his handlers. So he's building up an alibi that, oh yeah, he was always against China. That's an alibi. He started that in 2011. 2018, what was it, April, or I don't remember the exact date, 18 months ago, he started his trade war. 805 products totaling 34 billion first phase. Then he went after the solar panels. Then he went nuts. He went after trade war, but he didn't just hit China. He hit Japan. He hit Europe. He hit everybody on the trade war, weakening them. And remember in October, when I told you October 12th, that Saturday, when I saw that snowstorm, I told you 2 or 3 times on your show. I told you exactly what they're doing. Trade wars to weaken the world. They hold Brexit. They hold it there as a trigger. They're going to use Brexit. I didn't see the virus coming. I thought the general was something when they killed the general in Iran. Or in Iraq. I thought that was going to be a trigger.
I knew it wasn't. I knew it was going to die off. I knew they couldn't escalate that.
For a small scale war, to help, because they're going to blame it on a war. Or either the economy crashes, then we have war, or we have war and the economy crashes. One will blame on the other. So the bankers are not going to take the blame. So they're going to look for a way, well, what can we do that we don't have to take the blame? I didn't see the virus coming, but I did see they were going to knock out the economy. And I was telling you back then, they're going to knock it out. They're going to take it down. They're weakening it with the trade war. The repo market is evidence that their system has collapsed or is collapsing. What was that? That was corporate debt. Taxes coming due the same day as treasury auctions.
That's
okay,
right.
You're a little short on money that day. Yeah, that was 5 months ago. We're still pounding the billions a day into that market. Your market's done. They have no reasoning. There's several entities out there that nobody wants to lend money to. Several banks, so they know their system's failing. Okay, we got to come to that realization. So now the trade war is weakening, and I'm sitting here going, why would Trump beat the crap out of the world so hard like that? And then that day I saw the snowstorm and it clicked. I realized how fragile humanity is, how unprepared we are for adversity on this planet.
So basically everything came to reality for you and you just saw clearer that day.
Exactly. It came to me and I realized, because I'd never seen that kind of a problem in a community before, in a town of 14,000 people. I never saw people with no power, no electricity, no gas, no food, no help, no army. And I thought to myself, these people are going to start dying in a few days. These old people don't got heat. It's cold. There's snow. They can't move. They got no food, water. What are they going to do? And I realized we as a society are not prepared for anything. We're not prepared. If this just-in-time delivery service, if those trains that I drive across the country stop, I'm bringing double-stack containers, 10,000 feet long across the country. That stuff stops. That's all food going. Those are reefer containers with fridges built onto them. That's all the stuff that goes to our stores stop. So on that day, I realized what they were doing. And I thought, you know what? They're going to keep doing this and hammering and hammering. They're going to use that Brexit as trigger. But I thought the Brexit would be a bigger pop, but it wasn't.
So
but
this goes into my next question I was going to ask you. I know this, you know this, and I'm going to say this again for people joining us. You don't think the government's going to come and save everybody when the poop hits the fan? Because a
There's
lot of
two.
people believe, oh, my government will save me. Because the government actually showed a little weakness when he brought in a bunch of flights in from China with infected people that had
They need to seed the world. They need to seed the world with the infected. They can't have it contained in China. They needed some to get out. There's two types of people out there: those who think the government will help them, and those that think. I'm the one that thinks. I don't listen to the government. I don't believe anything they say. This is a hidden agenda. I've known that since October when I saw that town, and it really came home to me. And I said that trade war is going to keep weakening and weakening. That's what they're doing. He's trying to take the air out of the lungs of our economy. Something's coming. And I thought that general getting killed, they were going to spur something there. This virus is just what I was saying. It's coming. They're killing our economy. Look at the economic fallout of this virus. Don't look at the virus. That's just stupid. That's the impeachment. That's Russiagate. Don't look at the virus. Forget the virus. Look at what it's doing to the oil tankers, look, the car dealers, the pharmas, the drugs, everything. If you need drugs, you better go buy them now because they've got a 6-month supply. Vehicles is 6 to 12 weeks, they say. 30,000 pieces to make a car. They're running out of parts.
They're running out of parts.
When that chain breaks down, what do you think happens to food distribution? Oh, that's right. We've already kicked the hell out of food distribution. We got pig Ebola out there, 700 million pigs, avian bird flu in Europe. Our American farmers are screwed. There's no corn in Africa.
What's happening in North Africa? An outbreak of some sort.
Locusts. There's like insane amounts of locusts, And then I was thinking this morning, how, something that they did in New York about 19 years ago. And I'm thinking, what are they going to get out of this? Because they're going to try and get 20, 30, 40 different things out of it, okay? Population's probably one of them. That's probably a main one. They're going to want to wind us into that digital currency. And then I read today that they're pulling the currency, paper banknotes out of China.
That's right.
For fear of transmission.
That's right. And this is a good way to get them off the cash standard
exactly.
and go completely digitalized and then start introducing negative rates if they have to.
Now you're thinking. Now you're going to see how these people play. They're going to pull that digital currency and they're going to say, oh, yeah, it's due to virus transmissions. And everybody has to take a mandatory vaccine. And then you're going to be loaded up on that Jedi cloud that Trump's be trying to make a deal for. It's all coming. That's coming. If you don't think that, I can't help you. Whatever. That's 10 hours a day reading, studying, we 7 days a week, man. Yeah.
Okay, so back to I just kind of wish when you walked into that station where you were at, when all those people were there during that blizzard, Port
Prairie,
when reality kicked in, I wish I could stand behind you and just film you and get your reaction to when it kicks in, and I'll be playing on a little Walkman or a little bit on one of those Bluetooth speakers. That song by Jimmy Cliff. I can see clearly now that rain is gone. And you can just see it in your eyes.
We went to the Canad Inns. There was one taxi willing to drive in the town, the whole town. One taxi. The guy was crazy, taking us through snowdrifts. Went to the Canad Inns. I walked in. There were probably 50 people standing in the lobby in the dark. They all looked scared. They were looking at me like, who are you? Why are you here? I'm like, can I get a room? Like, we always rent rooms there. And they said, no, we can't help you. We can't even tell you who's in what room. Our bathrooms are backing up. We can't help you. Hotel after hotel after hotel. They told me, we can't help you. We don't know. There's no food, no gas, no water. You have to leave this town. How do I get out of this town? The roads are closed. I'm stuck. And then I realized it just started coming to me. I see what's going on. I see the big picture now. I'd never seen that helplessness before, right? I lived it there.
Can I tell you when I saw the big picture, Raven?
What's that?
When I went through Hurricane Wilma.
Yeah, I've never experienced anything like that.
When I went through Hurricane Wilma, they said it wasn't going to go through Broward County. It wasn't going to go through Dade County. It was going to come up through the Keys, and it was going to go over towards Port St. Lucie through Tampa Bay up into the Gulf, but it didn't. It actually swung kind of through the Keys and then up to where the county I was in West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale area. Let me tell you, I was out of power for 2.5 weeks. I couldn't flush my toilet for 2.5 weeks. Yeah. Mind you, it's Florida, so the weather is okay. I spent a lot of time outside on the balcony. Man, That was the one time in my life where I regretted not having a small library in my house. I read instruction manuals to keep myself sane. I'm
Oh,
not
really?
joking. There was no electronics. There's no way to power your devices for 2 weeks. Zero. Till they got the sewerage and the piping and the drainage back up first after 15 days, and then we could start using our water, which came back on after 2 weeks. Then after that, they started going with the electricity and stuff, and small parts started getting electricity. You couldn't charge your phone. You didn't know if you were tricking or treating. And man, reality kicked in for me when that hurricane went through went through there with Hurricane Wilma. I knew then. I understood.
Yes, it's an understanding. Everybody should go through something like that. Be safe, don't get hurt, but everybody should have an experience like that to make you understand. Holy crap! I'm living in this superficial world with a cell phone, and I can call and order a pizza, and that stuff can all go away in a blink of an eye. You know,
That's
and
you see, I've been through that. I got that in my early 20s. I saw that, and I started to really things started really coming to me. Things started really becoming more transparent in a way where I had to let certain things go to move on in life, and I started realizing the divide that we create inside of ourselves. Divide, whether it's hate, a divide, whether it's something like a grudge, and started to realize that we are fragile. We're on this earth, and we're gone. We're a stain. We're a little blip in the ionosphere of this grand universe. We're nothing. But we can make something of it, and we could become something of it while we're here. As long as we could weed out the crap, look for the answers, be at one with ourselves, love ourselves, and you know what I mean, Raven? Like,
speaking of weeding out the crap, Trudeau, where's his contingency plan? Like, are they
there's no
talking about
contingency
anything?
for continuity of government in Canada. I could bet you 100 to 1.
CDC says this is coming to the States, and it's going to come hard, they said. Where's our contingency plan? Is there any public service messages? Is there any
Nothing.
shelters
You
that
know,
they've got?
I have friends
Is
in
there any
Michigan
warnings?
State.
Is there any, you know what? They don't want that. They want chaos. They want transmission. They want you to seed the city, spread it around, get it around, stop the economic engine, get people to stop going to work. And I think that this is probably enough for that to happen. The trade war did a lot of damage. And, you know, the funny thing is now I'm seeing stories on the internet and that are saying exactly what I'm saying. And that's in the last few days. David Morgan, there's a guy. His last video is saying exactly what I'm saying. Where the trade war left off, the coronavirus goes to finish off the economy. That's what they're doing. That's all I see. I feel very adamant about that. But I read a lot. So I see a lot of different angles and compartmentalize everything I see and pull back on articles from years ago and this and that. And they want another Hiroshima. You know, they're going to get 20, 30 different things out of this virus. You know, look, what did they get from their last little party they held there in New York? They got Homeland Security, the Patriot Act. They got
they signed in
the
a
right
bunch
to
of
go
crap
on
that kind of
got a
screwed
lot of
that
stuff.
screwed the American proper over.
They took the habeas corpus out of due process, out of the Constitution. You're a terrorist. You're going to jail. You don't got to tell you why.
And they deregulated the markets and removing the Glass-Steagall Act and other crap that basically.
Yeah. And then Clinton signed us into the World Trade Organization in 2001 there, and that pretty much screwed everyone.
Listen, let me interject here. Clinton has the Clinton Foundation, and she donated $16,000 to Haiti, okay?
Yeah, they stole 100 million from Haiti.
Anyways.
Their people in Haiti were also involved in pedophile rings.
Okay, we're not going to say that. Talk about that tonight because I don't want to get this video flagged. But
no.
Look, can I backtrack one of the questions back again?
Sure.
Remember the video I did? What the hell is going on here? Because I tried uploading this video and this beeping, and then it goes out. And that video was a part about that lady that came from Shanghai that flew into...
Yeah, they're silencing you.
Huh?
They're silencing you. I just watched a live episode today of Wall Street for Main Street, and they won't say the word. They call it cerveza. They won't say it because it'll pull his video. They're silencing anybody that's talking about it. Why? I don't know. The CDC and the World Health Organization are the only entities allowed to talk about this. you know, and they're telling everybody to be calm. Be calm about it. When the Zika virus hit Brazil, they were in a panic. Oh, it's making the babies' heads grow and it's deforming their faces. They're in a panic. Serena Williams didn't go to the Olympics because of that. They were in a panic, but now they're telling everybody, no, be calm, you guys, be calm. They're not letting the American scientists go into the ground zero. Why? You don't want them to figure out stuff?
You know why? I said this last week. It's because then they're going to get the true vitality numbers. They're going to get the real. Once they're on the ground, once they get boots on the ground and start taking analysis and looking at the needs and wants and what they have to figure out to get this situation under control, they're going to start telling people, well, this is how many people really died. This is how many people we think are contracted. Then this will cause a real... I think the guy, the WHO guy that's up there in the front lining this thing, I think he's just a fall guy.
Don't lose sight of the real issue here. It's called debt. China's about 40 trillion in debt. United States is, who knows, 200 trillion, 220. Mm-hmm. They're all bankrupt. We're bankrupt. We're done. The game's over. If the game goes over the way that's going, there's going to be a lot of people to blame. Nobody's going to be to blame this way. And they're going to get a lot of what they want out of it. Use your brain. Got to use your brain. Look at what's going on. That's all that I keep thinking. 100%. That's what I believe. 100%.
Okay, let's go back to a joke that I put up. W. Pizzetz is saying, who are they in debt to? So, Raven, what are we going to do when the world debt gets to like trillions and billions and gazillions of dollars? What are we going to do if the Decepticons come and collect it?
Well, you know, they say, oh, we owe China so much money. Well, we owe China like 1.1 trillion. I think we owe Japan a little more. But you know what? If the U.S. defaults on that imaginary 23 trillion, they default on Medicare, 5 trillion, Medicaid, 5 trillion, Social Security, 5 trillion. You want to see civil unrest? Mm-hmm. And they say, what, 45% of all countries will be in civil unrest this year. The place is falling apart. The remo market is not going to last. Time to act, time to get it done, clean it up. We're not going to fix it and go to 9 billion people. We're going to clean it up. We're going to shave a few billion. We're going to put them in smart cities. We're going to vaccinate them. We're going to chip them. You know, we all know the scene, man. Whether you want to agree or not, whatever, it's slowly coming. You can see it if you read and study all the stories out there and what they're doing with the currencies, and it's all there.
But it goes back to what Supreme Canon said. Just micromanage kind of your own survivability, micromanage or take care and be prepared, right?
He's coming around. I've noticed
but he's right about that. Be prepared. That's all we could do. That's in our power, of our hands, you know, of our little lives. All we could do is, you know, stay close with family, stay in touch with people, get to know some of your neighbors, really come down to earth, really take it up. You know, like, you know, a good exercise I used to do was I would just sit and I would stare and focus at something nature-wise. I would sit and stare at a tree, and people would be looking at me. Why are you looking at the tree for, Mike? No, I'm not looking at the tree. I'm looking at its design. I'm looking at its perfection. I'm looking at its flaws. I'm looking at everything that tree offered or that tree will succumb to. You know what I'm trying to say?
So if I go through Merritt, I might see you standing there staring at a tree.
Perhaps, but no, I mean, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
But you got to really come to, you have to find yourself. And I think this virus might be maybe what we need to kind of reset this global mindset we're going through lately in the last 5 years with all this bizarroness that's happening.
A third of China is quarantined. Factories are shut. People don't want to go back to work. They don't want to sit there. You know, what do people, like, if this spreads, Canada, America, what do you think the outcome of that is? Do you think everything's going to be happy in 6 months? Oh yeah, everything's good. What's a little slow period? I lost a little bit of money in my RSPs. You know, market went down 200-300 points. No, I don't see that.
What do you have to say? Like, I know one thing I'm concerned about is a majority of populations live in cities, and a majority of populations live in condos and apartments.
Yeah.
That's the scary part. I'm scared of that.
They'll
like
perish.
I told the other gentleman that was in the show, I told him, if you can't flush your toilet for 2 weeks, you're dead.
You know what? If it gets that bad, Mike, you got 24 hours, 48 hours, get out of the city. The average house has 3 days of food. After that, people are going to be looking to feed their kids. You got a way to protect your family. You got a gun. You got guns. And you know what? Even if you got guns and 1,000,000 rounds of ammunition, 10 million people will come at you. You got to get out. You got to hide. You got to get away. Wait for the whole thing to settle down and then kind of rebuild
That's
after.
why, Raven, that's why I'm saying people should get in touch with their neighbors. Get to know people. If you see your neighbor watering his lawn, go out there and say, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. You look good, man. Did you lose weight? Something, because it's important. I know all my neighbors. All my neighbors here, they all carry, they're all packing heat. Everybody on this block.
Yeah, my neighbor, she's 90. She calls the city if I don't cut my grass. If it goes over 1.5 inches, she's got her ruler out there. I don't want to talk to her.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought we were friends, but still, I'm just joking. Being sarcastic.
She's 90.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
I wonder where Lord Humongous is.
I know. I got to send you a picture of an address here. Get your okay. We'll send that.
And I'm gonna order some samples, guys. This week I'm ordering samples. The reason why I haven't is because I want to make a few more things. I want to design a few more things. This artwork was given to me today by somebody, a fan of the show, that's watching us in Germany. What do you think of this Mike in the Night thing here? On my background, on my side here.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, somebody made this for me, so I want to put this on a mug. This looks really cool,
Yeah.
So. Okay, so I know where you stand on that, and then so you think they're blocking me with that video that I put up?
Yeah, I'd say so. And you know what? I think a lot of people are going to go, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist." They're going to say about me, whatever, man. It doesn't matter. It's just my opinion. You don't have to believe me. Whatever. Just look at it. Look at it for what it is. Think that way. Think just for a little bit. Think that way and think, is that possible? And when you read the stories, think, are they doing that? Are they hiding stuff? Is this what they're trying to do? Mm. So it's just a different way to think, and I'm very skeptical of the government. I've seen too much. I've seen them do too much. They're not nice people.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know how that makes you feel, so I'm not going to ask you how that makes you feel because I already know.
Well, I know. I say it every time.
I know how you feel.
I like to look from space down at the big picture, man.
Yeah, a view from space, the Raven.
What's the end result?
A view from the sky, a bird's eye view, Raven on the show, giving us an inside look.
It's a lot to do with vaccines too, eh? That Catherine Austin Fitz, she was going on about that on Greg Hunter. A really good episode a week ago, Greg Hunter with Catherine Austin Fitz. She goes into the JEDI contract, the vaccines, how they're breaking laws in the States, and she says she's very concerned at why they're trying so hard to break laws to push vaccine mandates in the United States, where it's going to be mandatory vaccines. They want that vaccine in your bloodstream. Nanotechnology, tracking. They want to load you up to the JEDI cloud, know where everyone is.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe all that stuff. Like, I'm sure they have it. But
go back. Let's go back one step. Johnny put a good comment. Don't forget to buy a manual can opener. I have 2 of them. Yeah, during the hurricane, I didn't have a manual can opener, so I had to open everything with a sharp knife. And working on it has, hey, Mike, what's going on with CN? Are they blocking the rails there?
I think, you know what, Mike? I haven't been at work in 3 weeks. I know that guys. I know there's guys in your room right now that are listening right now that are engineers that I work with that are in your room right now, listening to us right now. But he's working. I know other people are going to work, but not as much. I don't think. I think they really shut it down there for a while. They had a blockade just west of Winnipeg there, but that's what the cow catcher's for, eh? So
I got a message here from Trevor from the Gold Coast of Australia. It says, hey, Mike. Oh, hey, Mike, you're a great mate. I've been watching you for over a year now, and I want to tell you your live numbers are not true. There's easily 260 of us at our workforce in our work division, and I could tell you that everybody watches Mike in the Night, and we talk about it come Monday morning at work.
Yeah. Do you hear that crazy guy on there? Conspiracy guy?
Who?
That's
they're
me.
talking about you.
Yeah, no, I don't know. That's probably what they're talking about.
No. So he's telling me that there's a division or something in his company that's watching, and he goes on to say, "Cheers, mate, keep up the good work." So basically, he's saying there's a lot of people in I guess in Australia. So he's saying there's more people in Australia watching this show live because it is Sunday afternoon, right?
Yeah.
So they're up and about, right? So I don't know. I never believed in what YouTube said. So guys, I want to bring this up now that we're live. There's no way of tampering anything or Mickey Mousing anything. This is live, okay, guys? Now, if you go to my channel, here, your channel, and then if you click on here, about, okay? Now, I'm at 4.6 million views, okay? Now, I actually want to bring this up live so we could have this actually here, so we could talk about this. Because I have a feeling every time I approach 5 million views, it goes back to 4.2 million. Every single time. I remember when I was living in Vancouver 3.5 years ago, I was going to take the family out. We were going to go to a buffet. We were going to celebrate. And I was preparing for 5 million views so we could go out and celebrate out and, have a good time, right? Okay? Yep. And they crawled it back to 3.9 million views. And then now, they've crawled it back to 4.1 million, like a year and a half ago when I was approaching 5 million views. Now, I'm approaching 5 million views on this channel. Everyone's seeing it. It's right there. It's written right here. 4.637 million. And if it goes back to 4.2 million, I'm going to make a video and I'm going to crop this part of this video to show people that I'm not lying about this. They constantly do that. I think something happens when you reach 5 million views and I think your channel goes to another level or something.
Look at your video that had 20 comments with 0 views.
I love that video.
They're caught red-handed right there.
My favorite is when it has 6 dislikes and 0 views.
Yeah. At least they left the dislikes, eh?
Yeah, they left the dislikes, but 0 views.
That's generous of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you never know who's really watching, eh? Like, look, hey, the FBI openly admit they watch YouTube videos on conspiracy, government, economic, political. They left-wing, they openly admit that they monitor those channels. So there's probably an FBI guy in that room right there.
But we're just, we're discussing current events. We're just talking. We're exercising our right to form assembly. We're exercising our right to be opinion on something. We're allowed to give opinions. Right?
I know what they're thinking. I know what the FBI is thinking. That Raven guy's right. He's on to us.
You're always one step ahead of the muff, eh?
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking today, how are they going to speed up that crypto? I was thinking that, because I'm looking at what are they all going to achieve off this? Because they're going to, and you can really, if you really start to think about that and go in a different direction, what are they going to achieve? I'm thinking, how are they going to get the crypto, eh? Because the crypto is not really online. And then I read that article about them pulling the money, and I thought, there you go. They're going to expedite it right there. Get the currency out. We got to get rid of paper money. It transmits viruses. We can't afford this to happen.
Australia's the first country to do it. I've been saying this for 2 years now. Australia is like the petri dish or the pig pen of the world, where they're gonna, not pig pen as in dirty. I'm saying the test facility for the rest of the Commonwealth. So they're already put on the table, or they've already implemented the cash withdrawals and limits of deposits, and then looking you up and back checking you if you pay off a bill in full type of thing. So Australia's the first one to go, in my opinion. I've been saying this for years, but the housing, the whole 9 yards, they're just that country has gone through so much in the last 6 years. It's unfathomable if you sit back. The burning, now this the CV virus that's going to start stepping in come when winter flu season hits Australia. I'm so scared. I'm scared for Australia, man.
Yeah, the housing. I know you love the housing. The housing, I look a little bit, not much. I look at it like a misallocation of time. There's much more stuff to dig in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's
all of it ties
it is what it is.
But this problem we're living in right now, it's this housing is affecting every human being on this planet, Raven. Whether you're homeless, it's because of housing. Whether you can't afford to buy, it's because of housing. Whether you can't get into the market, it's because of housing. If you're couch surfing, it's because of housing. If you're not marrying and laying roots, it's because you can't get a place. And everything all goes back to shelter. When you go to Maslow's hierarchy of needs and you look at needs and wants, you need a shelter to you need shelter, and if you can't get shelter, you can't get the other basic necessities you need to live a normal life.
See, if you ask me, oh, you can't afford a house, and you say because of housing, I'd say that's central bankers making you a debt slave. They did that to you. They did that. That's why you can't buy a house, because you're a debt slave to them. You'll never get. It's hard to not be a debt slave. It's hard to get out of being a debt slave. Once you're in, I see people at work. They're not ever getting out. They're not going to get out. There's no principal at the end of the month to pay off, or there's no money to pay off the principal at the end of the month. It's just interest all the time, fighting to pay the interest. Fighting. That's the system. That's the way the system's made. And but as looking at housing, sure, look at oil. Oil it's the most traded commodity in the world. I look at it a little bit. I don't spend a lot of time on it. It's a very vast.
But then you want to tie oil into housing? Simple. Oil's down. They got to back the GDP by something. What did they do? They raised the price on housing, raised the price on the red tape of getting permits and all this garbage. It costs $600,000 to build a small 2,000 square foot home in Vancouver, where the same home in Arizona costs $80,000 to build. There's something going on. Everything ties to everything. If oil was up and oil was $140 a barrel, the price of housing would be more feasible because the government doesn't need to back its GDP on friggin' housing. So everything always goes back to shelter in the end.
Back to shelter, sure. Okay, housing, the outcome, gonna crash. Everything's gonna crash.
That's why they're not making it crash. That's why I've been sounding like a broken record for the last 10 years with the same crap, because we're not leaving this market on autopilot, and when we don't, guess what happens?
You did a story I think today on them giving tax incentives for people to invest in the stock market. What the hell is that? They're desperate to keep that stock market going. Did you do a story? Did you do a video on that?
No, I did a video on, let me see what I did today. Amazon hacking their drivers.
Condos. Yeah, condo collapse or going bust.
Condo developers are foreclosing halfway through jobs. Amazon cuts thing. And then we have the coronavirus in the BC interior that's been, I don't know, it doesn't even work properly. And the video I have, it works fine, right?
So they're talking, if you make $200,000 in the US, they're going to let you take $10,000 of your income tax-free and invest it in the stock market. That's tax-free. As an incentive for people to get into the stock market. Trump's floating that. It's to help him get reelected. But he's already reelected. He was reelected probably back in 2005 for the second term, or even earlier than that. Maybe even the 90s they had him picked. It's all bull. I don't believe anything those guys do.
Here's the article that was sent to me by my man TJ. Was it Low Roller Scratcher? Here it is. Trump administration considers tax incentive for more Americans to buy stocks, report says. So that's, it's happening. It's happening. And hold on.
Subsidizing. That's kind of like our TSFA.
Okay, another video I did today was, can 2020 be the end of the CCP? Do you think it's coming to an end 100 years later?
The CCP? I think the whole show's coming down. The whole show, man. Our entire delivery system, our entire manufacturing, our entire everything, I think, is coming down.
Logistics, it's all coming down.
You're not going to 30,000 pieces to build a car. You got 12 weeks supply, 6 to 12 weeks supply of vehicle parts. That's coming to an end right away. Those plants are going to be shut down. You got airlines, travel, you got tourism crashing. You got oil tankers. Did you see how many on Zero Hedge they were parked outside China?
Yep,
there's like hundreds.
And then you know what pisses me off, Raven? What keeps me up at night in a cold sweat? You know what keeps me up the most? Is when you get this Nimrod come up to me, or a teacher at a school saying, you can't call your wife, you need to call her your partner because that's not politically correct. And you're worried about what I call my wife? And you want me to call her my partner? And you're worried about that? And you're not worried about all this crap that's happening around us?
You know what? Snowflakes, man. Those people will perish in the first week. You know, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? Like,
yeah, and people are worried about that.
Yeah, well, I walked in a 7-Eleven a few nights ago, and there was a guy in there yelling at the two guys working there from India. They're in their
You
30s.
told me that was a good one, yeah.
Yeah, he's yelling at them because they're talking in Punjab, and he's saying it's illegal. You know,
That's a free
like
country.
it's not illegal. I let him have it, man. I said, hey, buddy, it's not illegal. These guys can do what they want. Our forefathers fought for this country. It's a free country, and you're an idiot. So get out of the store. You know, it's just an idiot, man.
Like
Couldn't
me, I
believe it.
talk Portuguese to my kid all the time.
Yeah, whatever.
You know?
Yeah. Free country, man.
You know?
So, yeah.
But yeah. Any last words? I know you wanna slip something in about Hill Dog real quick, so
Hill Dog. Oh man. You know,
I
read
don't think we've seen the end of her. That's what I want to say. I want to throw this out there. I don't think we've seen the end of Hill Dog.
I'll tell you a story about Hill Dog. I don't know if people. I watched a lot. I read a lot on her. Her bio, everything about her. When she went in the White House with Bill Clinton, there's a department there called. I'm not going to get it straight, but you'll get the gist. It's called, I think, the Travel Group. Those are the people that organize the travel of the president and all the people, his entourage, you know, to go from country to country, whatever. It's the Travel Group. They organize hotels. They organize. It's like 7 guys that are in their 50s and 60s. They've been there for 5 presidents. These guys are so honorable, and they're so happy to work at the White House, and they're the best old guys that ever held that job. They've never had a problem in entire history. Hill Dog comes in with Bill Clinton, frames them for stealing $7,000, takes them to court, shames them, fires them, and then hires her family members in that same position. That is Hill Dog. That's what she does. She does that to honorable people who've worked 45 years in a White House and have left shamed over $7,000 so her family could work in that department. That's Hill Dog. I don't like her. That's one of the stories they had about her.
Okay.
So there you go. That's all I got. You get Supreme on now. He's
all
waiting.
Right.
He's itchy.
God bless you. Thank you so much, Raven, for coming on and making a difference.
Yeah. Okay.
Take care, boss.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right, guys, let's do a channel plug now. Here it is, guys. Please, we already had some people join the channel, guys. Go here, go to the channel, click join. Here it is here. If you guys could please join the channel, I really appreciate it. Go to the Teespring store if you guys want to pick up a Mike in the Night sweater. I want to get this image that was sent to me, this one here, and I want to put it on a t-shirt too, a Mike in the Night thing, if you guys don't mind. I think it will look good. I'm going to finish up on a few things I want to get done. They're going to order a bunch of samples. I'm going to send some stuff to Lord Humongous. I got the Raven mug. The Raven was just on. Here he goes. Guys, pick up a Raven mug. The Raven. There it is. The Raven. The Raven. Morning Coffee with Mike. If you enjoy watching Morning Coffee with Mike, there it is right there. Oh, it comes in multiple colors. But the thing is, the lighter colors don't look good. Maybe the back looks good. Yeah, that doesn't look that bad, actually. But the darker colors like this look really good. Look at that. So if you're going to buy a mug, I mean, it's $15 Canadian. It's like $12 US. T-shirts are pretty cool. Lots of Mike in the Night gear here. It's Jordan Retro's birthday. Mike, it's my birthday today. Can you give me a shout out? Woo! Happy birthday, Jordan Retro. Spending his birthday on Mike in the Night. What time is it in your neck of the woods, Jordan Retro? What time is it where you're at, buddy? I'd like to know what time it is where he's at. What he's up to. I know he's watching Mike in the Night, but like to know. So there it is. That's the article that was brought up there. Low Roller Scratcher is asking about Trump Jr. running in 2024. He could run, sure, why not? He's getting experience. He's works in business. He understands the angle. He's good at talking. He's good at public appearances. Why not? He's going to be 45, 50. When his dad, if his dad runs another term, you know. A Timmy McPhister mug? No, that should be interesting. No, a Timmy McPhister. No, McPhister. That's a nice name. Chris Shaw in the house. Cure for heart attack with attack little dropper bottle of Capsun and olive oil. Yeah. I could just take an aspirin a day. But that just brought back that article I read earlier about coronavirus reinfecting people and giving them heart attacks, man. That's got to bite the big one, man. That's got to hurt, man. Seriously. Supreme Cannon says, Jordan Retro, attaboy, my son turned 26 today. Yeah, Jordan Retro, how old are you, buddy? Oh, 25. Wow, you're 25 and you're watching Mike in the Night. That's good. I always thought I catered to people saying that I cater to more like 35 to 70-year-olds, more like kind of like that kind of, because I don't know, I'm more on the heavy conservative, build family, create ventures, take the world by the cojones, if you know what I'm saying. All right, let's see who else we got here who could join us on the show. Man, I haven't heard from Walking Journey in a while. I think he tried calling me the other day. Let's see if he's not in jail. Percy! Buck 99 from Northern California. Persia, just join the channel for $1 a month. That would have covered 2 months right there. Join the channel, guys. Come on. Everyone, somebody joins every time. Every week, at least one person joins. Go here, click join. Join the channel. This way the channel looks profitable, so maybe YouTube might leave us alone, type of thing. Too many layoffs. Yo, Eamon Lali's in the house. Eamon Lali's in the house. There's my man Eamon in the house. Steve Stevens saying, it's feel amazing. I feel blessed. I love my family. That's a good attitude, Jordan Retro. Johnny D in the house. Dave from Berlin is saying, Mike, have you heard of the Corona V song? No, I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to get my channel flagged. I know it's probably good. I'll look at it after the show. I'm not gonna get into too much. We're talking about it, right? So I'm trying to get.
Hello?
Yo, how are you?
Not too bad.
We're missing you in the comments. Are you okay?
I'm just waking up.
Oh, I am very sorry. I know it's 10, 11, 12, 12:35 there.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's 1:35 there.
It's 1:40 a.m., yeah.
I'm really sorry for calling you this late, but I know you're running the Discord for the whole coronavirus thing, or the CV, whatever we call it on the channel. Can you give us a little bit of insight on what you've been finding out, keeping it as PG as possible without swearing? I understand it's a very sensitive subject.
Yeah, well, just let me gather out what you would consider to be kind of like new news, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware that the Tempostable, there was a bunch of rain and it collapsed? That's kind of news a bit.
Say that one more time. I barely heard that.
There was a bunch of rain.
Uh-huh.
I guess whatever happened in the Tempostable, they built it in whatever it was is 10 days.
Yeah.
The roof collapsed.
Oh, of course it's going to
From
collapse.
rainwater.
Made in China.
So I'll send you some of that footage right now. Where is it? There we go. We got some more leaks from the funeral home that we gathered up from another YouTube channel. That's I guess they present themselves as like kind of like trans-censored, but a little bit more like a news team.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you that as well. We already talked about how it goes down the pipes, right?
Yeah, that place in Hong Kong. Here it is. So there's the new hospital. It's getting completely hit with just water damage. I guess it doesn't. It's concrete flooring, so I don't think they really care. There's no hardwood in there or ceramic tiles or anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they can just mop this up. I mean, these look like they're all like portable walls, like prefab walls and everything. So the guys, this is the image here that people listening to this, I'm sorry, but it's just basically a hallway full of water for the hospital they built, or that facility, or that camp they built, I guess, in 10 days.
So I'm not sure if you're aware, they're using wartime measures now.
Yes.
In Wuhan and Hubei province.
Well, why don't you explain to us listening what does wartime measures mean for China?
Well, that means the military's posting out signs outside your apartment building saying your family will all die without descendants if you dare hide your disease and don't proactively quarantine yourself. You're not going to believe it. They're also posting signs out people's apartment buildings saying, and this is the military saying this, we'll break your legs if you dare go out, we'll knock your teeth off if you dare talk back. You know, and you know, that's even for China, that like, or maybe it's just me. I was shocked. Go skip 2 minutes into the video if you want to actually see that, but that's insane. So
Okay.
people are just getting beat up just for walking on the street now.
Wow. Okay. So now, did you hear about that? I don't know if you were sleeping, but the Zero Hedge article that was posted not too long ago that coronavirus is reinfecting people and they're getting heart attacks.
Well, most of the people falling down, it all looks like heart attacks. We've been saying that from the beginning.
But I'm talking about people who are cured, set free, and discharged from the hospital are getting reinfected and getting heart attacks.
I don't know.
That
might be just a
was
rumor.
just posted
I don't
on
have
Zero Hedge, so
I don't have proof of that right now, so I can't confirm or deny it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I've heard about people getting reinfected. The Chinese government seemed to be concerned about that. I don't know if that's just because they wanted antibodies or whatever, but
we just got Debbie Kozak joining the family. Welcome to the family, Debbie. Thanks for joining the channel and becoming a member of this little assembly we have every Saturday that we call Mike in the Night.
So yeah, I sent you 2 videos. I don't know if you want to check those out, but they were 2 from 2 channels.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to be providing quite a bit of a lot of decent information.
Mm-hmm.
One's about details on the funeral homes, and
oh, did you hear about that call that was intercepted, where it was recorded, where the guy pretended to be part of the CCP, was calling a funeral home to ask them if they could burn more bodies, and then they were saying, like, we're at capacity now, we can't do more than 200 or whatever per day? Do you remember that? That was out today.
Well, there's been 2 leaks from the funeral homes. Yeah, it might be it.
Because that's pretty scary, man, when you look at it.
He said he didn't have enough staff. He said he wanted another 50 staff. He says the female workers are constantly picking up bodies. He's doing 5 times the normal volume of what would be considered usual business.
Mm-hmm. So this is I don't know, man. Like, I just really hope there's a little bit more transparency of what's happening. I think we need transparency.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, Supreme Cannon's logging off. Supreme, oh, too bad. I was actually I was hoping Supreme Cannon. He said he was gonna come and see me today at the store.
Oh, I think I added the wrong guy to the call. I was trying to add. I don't know who that was that I added to our call. Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna. Where is it?
Yeah, I'm just opening the stuff you're sending me. So there's like lots of stuff here. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna watch
Yeah,
that. We can't play that.
Yeah, but that news broadcast or whatever that YouTube channel is, they seem to be doing quite a lot of good work.
Okay. It's kind of tough for me to play other like YouTube. Sometimes when I play,
Yeah, I know.
it shuts me or kind of yeah. All right. I'll let you go then. I'll let you go back to sleep.
Well, my friend Satellite wanted to talk. He just jumped in.
Oh yeah, the
Australian fellow.
Yeah, our friend in Australia there.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing phenomenal.
I have the lowdown on that heart attack thing. If you want,
please.
Okay. So it was like a 40-minute video, and so I don't really have anything to send you just on the spot in the middle of a live stream. So I'll just explain to you what I gathered from this guy who's actually a pulmonologist. I think that's the right word. Mm-hmm. So this is what he said. Right? The 2019 nCoV. So I'm not going to call it COVID-19 because stupid name. I like the old name. Basically, it infects you via the ACE2 receptors. Mm-hmm. Now, what apparently occurs is because the heart and the small intestine have the most amount of them, as well as other parts of the body, when it infects you, it causes a lot of damage to organs that have a lot of ACE2 receptors. That is the heart, for example, right?
Right.
As well as it causes a lot of cardiovascular distress.
So it puts a lot of load on the heart, is what you like. When you have this sickness, it puts a lot of load on your heart.
It causes a lot of damage, yeah. So it kind of like one of those viruses that are out there that, you get it, and when you recover, you still have lasting health effects. We could unfortunately see some people have lifelong health problems after recovering from this virus. I mean, if anyone thought this virus could get any worse, here you go. This is great. But what happened is a doctor who contacted a friend, who then contacted the media, gave out this information that some people got reinfected and then they dropped dead from a heart attack very quickly. So this is literally a game of telephone. So this may not be true. But what the pulmonologist was saying on his video is that when it reinfects, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to go straight for the ACE2 receptors. And so it's going to attack the heart a second time. Ooh. And because you've already taken damage to the heart, it will not survive a second round.
Oh.
And now, why is it then? This is the other question now. Why is it that when you get antibodies and that China has reported success by harvesting plasma from other patients, giving it to the sick patients, and then them healing? So then that means that this is not something that would be standard. It's likely going to be people who fought off the virus, yet for some reason their antibodies were ill-equipped to handle a second infection. So I don't think this is going to be the norm. And I think, thirdly, it might be similar in the sense of the fact that the vaccine is not going to work out, because when they give the vaccine, I think I mentioned this on Monday, that they give the vaccine, the mice, had antibodies, but then when they got infected, they died really quick. So from cytokine storm. So it's interesting that this virus is all over the place. It's almost like it's playing 4D chess. You've got some people that are super spreaders. You've got others who are asymptomatic for up to 24 days, right. Spreading it. Then you've got people who
that guy
not getting infected.
Like that guy from California that wanted to quarantine, went to the hospital, then he was released, all clear, and then 2-3 days later he went back to the hospital with the virus again.
Yeah, it just seems like I don't know. So many different possibilities are occurring to so many different people that it's really just a play. And one of the things that's also interesting is that a lot of people are trying to say that it's going to be a seasonal thing and then it's going to go away through the summer. I wouldn't believe that. The mainstream media, I wouldn't believe that for a second, because it's currently going epidemic in Singapore, which right now is in summer conditions. It's very warm there.
It is.
So
That's
the virus can survive in cold and hot environments. That also suggests that having a fever is not going to slow it down. So don't bother, getting under a bed and bringing yourself up to 40 degrees under blankets. You're probably just going to make things worse.
Okay, so now let me ask let me ask you the question I asked everybody that came on. Did you watch that video that YouTube basically? I tried to upload it 3 times. It says that there was something with the parameters, and then I finally refilmed the video, put it up, and reworded it, and they put all this beeping on.
What?
The video. If you go to my channel, okay, and you go to the channel to videos, and you go back 4 videos to CV virus and BC interior, it just starts going beep and covering the key words I'm saying, and then it blacks out and goes all like fuzzy, and then it comes back towards the end for my final words.
Okay. Well,
that was weird.
Shit.
And I'm going to leave this up for people to see because there's nothing wrong with the video. The original video, Supreme Cannon was supposed to come in. He said he was going to be in town. He was going to come and see me. I was going to show him the original video. Like, this is the video. This is what it's uploading to every time.
Well, it's possible. I mean, the censorship knows no bounds. I mean, YouTube has got to a point where it has literally, I don't know if you heard, they forcibly privated a video from, I think it's the, it's on MSNBC. It's one of the other ones. It's one of the big mainstream medias in America. They put up a video of a senator on the Senate floor. So this is literally like, government level First Amendment right shit. And basically they just forced the video because it said the name of the Ukrainian whistleblower. So they're even willing to censor like Senate floor stuff now. That's how brash they are. So if they do that,
dangerous because what we're doing is we're exercising our right to form assembly.
Yeah. The main social media being the new town square. Yeah, of course. No, a lot. Something has to change. A lot. I don't know what we can do though.
I'm just concerned where things are headed and this massive and then it goes back to what I said to the Raven. It's like there's all this danger that's at the bay. At bay or at our doors, and everybody, and then I go to my son's school, and it's like, you can't call your wife anymore. You have to call her your partner.
Wait, what? Whoa! Wait. Did that actually happen?
Yes, it did. And I'm like,
I told my dad.
Wait a minute. You're concerned about what I call the woman in my life is my wife. Oh no, you can't say that. You got to call her your partner. I'm like, you're worried about that?
I told my dad 5 years ago, just wait until they come to a point, just because they don't want to offend whatever it is, child, foster kid, or kid with freaking mom and mom, whatever it is. They'll come to a point where they can't call you mom and dad in front of the other children at the PT meeting or whatever it is at school when you're picking your kids up.
But then there's...
I called it. I wish I put money on it, though.
Okay, hold on a second. Hold your horses. We got a pandemic that's going on. We don't even know what the heck we're dealing with. We got economy's on the rails. We got all this crap happening. We got this opioid crisis, homeless crisis, and this person is more concerned about what I call my wife.
Well, they're not paying attention.
Energy into something like find a cure for cancer or invent a longer-lasting light bulb or something.
Yeah, but that's normies. Mike, you have to understand, that's normie stuff, right? They're not paying attention. No, normal people, normies.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not paying attention to all the crap going on. It's to them, it's still bread and circus. A lot of people have forgotten about the coronavirus story. They've moved on from it as well. No,
that is weird.
It's pandemic, right? Like my eyes are glued to it because it scares the shit out of me.
Actually, China is looking to. They've already started pushing people to work in a limited fashion because the economy can't handle it. Just not doing anything. So it's a risky move. It's a very risky move.
You got the footage from me. They literally sent 200 workers to a factory. They can shut down one of I really got to start backing stuff up again because they're still shutting stuff down. Anyways, they send 200 workers to a factory, right?
Right.
They go to work. They're all under quarantine by the end of 2 hours into the freaking workday.
Wow.
And now all because one guy showed up to work sick. Now they all freaking get to live in a bubble.
Oh,
I don't know how they're
calling
calling
about that article I read earlier. 4 stories down on my channel. Do you know what? What upset me the most on why I got really upset is because Canada thinks the Canadian government thinks it's not necessary to contact the people that were sitting next to the woman that was infected that came from Shanghai and the people 3 rows up and 3 rows back and left and right of her. It's not necessary to contact them.
This government has done such a horrible job. I've already stated my opinion. If people's family members die, what will happen to the people in government?
I don't know.
They won't be able to contain it.
People with flyers,
they won't be able to contain that amount rage. Just like they can't contain coronavirus, they won't be able to contain people's reaction to it if people's family members die.
Basically,
I'll leave it like that.
Yeah. It's 14 years ago, back in 2005, there was an accidental coding mistake that caused what would be like a pandemic in World of Warcraft. And it was so interesting that it actually piqued the interest of a lot of real-life researchers who, 2 of the biggest researchers actually did papers on this. But one of the conclusions that they found was the unpredictability of human stupidity, and that you can plan what you want, but some of the things that they saw that people were doing in World of Warcraft was tantamount to stupidity. But a second thing that they can't plan for is, well, actually 2 other things. What a government does, which is, for example, fly people into the country, then accidentally release them, like happened in the US. And the other thing is there were people in World of Warcraft that decided that it would be a good idea to run around purposely trying to spread the virus. You are actually seeing this in the real world with some of these people who spit on their hand and then rub it all over like buttons on lifts and stuff.
I saw that. They're spitting on food in the supermarkets and stuff so other people could catch it type of thing. Yeah, you're going to have that stuff.
Yeah, so it's actually funny that in a virtual world, things occurred in a virtual world that we're actually seeing in the real world 14 years later.
Exactly.
Do you want to see people using buckets to buy and sell food? From their apartment building because they're under quarantine? I just sent you that as well, Mike.
You did?
And then the
20 I'm going to jump off. I'll just quickly tell you something quick about the supply chain, and then I'll jump off. The supply chain thing, we might not really see too much disruption for a long time, but the disruption will be later. Let me paint a picture quickly for you. You know how you have a traffic jam, and then the car at the front moves forward, and then you get like a slow motion wave of each car moving forward one after the other, right?
Yep.
The supply chain looks very much like that. And I saw something today, a video about the supply chain and sort of like how long it takes for each thing to sort of move across the chain. And it can be as long as 8 to 10 months. And so there would be a lack of things occurring now, but these things will not really see fruition at the end of the product line on store shelves until around Christmas 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So what we might actually see is that there won't be too much wrong for now, but we basically will not have a Christmas. That's sort of what it could end up looking like, or we might see ramifications earlier on around October, something like that. Like the next iPhone is not going to come out. The next, Samsung Fold, or you might not be able to buy a fridge, something like that, But we might not see these ramifications for several months down the line.
No,
So,
I don't think so. Our entire market-based system and shit only lasts for about a week or two.
well,
Apple's
those
already struggling to get phones now.
Mm-hmm.
No, I know, but those phones would be products that they're going to be selling far down the line. But I understand where you're coming from, because there are certain products that we will see shortfalls now, which I am. Like, for example, I vape, and I went to quickly just buy some batteries because I really do need these 18650s. And so I went to buy them now because I know that most of them are made in China and Japan, and these two countries are about to go epidemic. Well, one is and one is about to.
Mm-hmm.
So I had trouble. I actually had trouble. I had to buy like a fourth option of battery because everything else was sold out. So like directly, like from these supply chains, like you buy directly, of course, yeah, those things were screwed. But I'm talking more about things that have long supply chains, orders that companies are making, say, like orders that would have been made, say, 4 or 5 weeks ago, for products that would be then assembled in time for Christmas 2020,
Mm-hmm.
which would be certain, big brand televisions, certain cars, things like that. Those things that's not going to be a problem. Oil would be a problem as right now because that is a 0-day product.
That's right.
Yeah, more like long-term stuff. Yeah. For example, if you think of a washing machine, right? A washing machine is going to be something that you would still be able to buy up until about July.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even October, because they made the coil wire, and then that, probably 6 months down the line, eventually it's now become a motor. So there's long supply chains for certain products and short ones for others.
Right. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Absolutely perfect sense. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go.
Okay, yeah. Be nice to hear from Supreme Canada if he comes on.
Was that?
I was going to put in a little point right here.
Supreme Canada probably wants to come on now. So I'll get out of here.
Yeah, but I wanted to make one more point.
Go ahead.
So, the Shanghai index goes down 9% when they reopen the market during all this freaking craziness. Then they shut it down. And then they pump a bunch of money into it and it rebounds, right? Now, if you think about it in that context, China's factories have been shut down for what? Their entire economy's basically been put mostly to a screaming halt in the last month, right? Yet their stock market hasn't gone down because they're obviously manipulating it, and now you have to put in a buy signal before you can put a sell signal, and the sell signal can only be I think it's up to $1 million or something. It's no different. I'm just trying to highlight the fact of how false the West's economy is. It's the same shit. The S&P 500 hits it all 2.9. Who cares? It's easy to manipulate. The Chinese pretty much showed it for us this month about how easily a stock market can be manipulated upwards, despite the whole country's economy is turned off. It's all the emperor has no clothes. It's very easy to see. Anyways, I'll go as well.
Yeah, that's happening with Boeing. Yeah, Boeing is actually a good example. Apparently, Boeing has had 0 orders for January. It's never happened before, as if for new planes, and yet their stock is went up. It's all fake.
Yeah, it's a bunch of garbage.
The real economy, the bond yield index inverting, the freight index freaking collapsing, the shipping index collapsing, the retail apocalypse, the corporate earnings falling, these are real indicators of a real economy.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't talk about it. Everyone's like, oh, Trump economy, Trump economy. Yeah, this is all freaking
It's
all
all
hooey.
Mickey Mousing of it, whitewashing, Mickey Mousing everything without giving the true employment numbers and all that stuff. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. And
Coming next. What's coming next is helicopter money.
oh,
Actually, you
helicopter
should
money's
do a show on
amazing.
that next week. Yeah, you should do a show on that next week. It's actually really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll do that. We
all
could do
right.
a whole
See you
helicopter
later.
money show. We could, yeah, maybe we could get a blimp and fly over a stadium and just pour buckets of money on the people watching.
Yeah. All right, man. Okay, catch ya.
All right, have a good
Okay.
night, guys. Take care. Stay out of
See
trouble,
ya.
please.
I will.
Bye.
See ya. Bye, everyone.
All right. Yeah, we just oh god. It's an interesting night. It's an interesting time to be alive, to be really upfront and frank with you guys. I don't know. I'm just kind of thrown for a curveball is just how we're just not taking things as serious as we should. Like maybe not okay, not being so serious about it where we're losing our minds, but we're not really we're more worried about if I call my wife or my partner like that's what's concerning me. You know? All right. So we got Chris Shaw. I know Chris Shaw, guys, by the way. Chris Shaw is in the comment section. I know him personally. I know him when he comes through town, he comes to see me. He used to live in Merritt. Good guy. I like him a lot. All right. So we couldn't get a hold of Walking Journey. I wonder if I kind of want to see what Layla's up to and what she thinks about this whole CV occurrence that's happening. Just to kind of give us a little insight on what she thinks on it. Yeah, exactly. Mikey Jenkins is saying political correctness over public safety. That's yeah, that hurts, man. That's like almost like okay, Layla, call me because I know you changed your number. The number I have for you is not in service. Let me see what I have here. She changed her thing. She has to change either her name on the thing so I know it's her, or some way of getting a hold of her. Because people lose their Skype numbers or they lose their here it is. Chatted 7 days ago. There we go. Oh, don't tell me you dumped this number too. I think Layla's a secret spy and she has throwaway Skype numbers. She burns them after she talks to me, so they can't track her. No, I got her number, Supreme. I got it right here. But she's offline. I'm surprised Lord Humongous isn't here. He's usually on here. Oh, it's just lemon water I'm drinking. Someone's asking me if I gotta stay hydrated, man. I'm talking for 3 hours straight, man, and not going to the bathroom for 3 hours. At 41, it's pretty tough, you know. If I was 20, you know what I'm saying? She's saying, bear with me. This always happens to me with Skype. No, it's just a throwaway account so they don't track her back. You know, this way there's no... I'm just being sarcastic, you know what I'm saying? Woo! You need to create a break sequence. Oh, my Skype is on Do Not Disturb. That's right. Yeah, no, but people could still call me. The Raven called me. People call me. People call me all the time. And then, so let's get to back to some of the articles we're looking at here. I really am concerned about this one here. Hubei doctors warn of even deadlier coronavirus reinfection causing sudden heart attacks. So we had a gentleman on the show that actually explained exactly why this is happening. So rewind back at like 40 minutes and you can understand. Makes absolute perfect sense. It puts a lot of pressure on certain organs, and then when you have it, and then when it comes back, that organ is starting to recover, and then boom. Right? We got Bloomberg considers Hill Dog for a running mate. Oh my God, Bloomberg. Oh. We had Raven on the show earlier, if you're just tuning in, and he just loves Hill Dog. Then the geopolitics of biological weapons, part 2, efficiency and development. Planet Killer. This was in the comments earlier today. NASA on alert for potentially hazardous asteroid fast approaching the Earth. That's all we need, eh? Is an asteroid approaching the Earth, a pandemic, a deregulated economy that's off the rails. Isn't that a song by not Iron Maiden? Isn't that a song by going off the rails on a crazy train? Ozzy Osbourne, Crazy Train. Haven't heard that song in a while. Socialism is just as dangerous as all the other members of the socialist family. And let's see if we get some good meat here. Is political change coming to China? Like Raven brought in also earlier in the show, could this coronavirus be the paradigm shift for China to start bringing in a political change to better protect the people? W. Pizzet's in the comments saying, World War III pandemic, World War III pandemic, asteroid, what a time to be alive. I know. Oh, and I can't call my wife because I got to call her my partner because I'm going to offend somebody if I don't. It's like, mama fangulo. All right. How you doing?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Oh, for heaven's sake. I'm sorry about this, Mike. Let me just do one more thing. I'm going to tell you why this happens to me. Just bear with me.
That's fine.
Okay, I'm just going to switch to... Okay. I'm going to switch you off here. And I'm going to go online. Just bear with me one more. Where's Mike in the night? There's Mike in the night. Okay, I can... Just bear with me one more. And... Right here. Okay. Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I'm sorry about this, Mike.
Don't be sorry. It's fine. We're all human beings. Okay, so give me your angle on this whole thing. Like, okay, let's go back to the first question I asked everybody else. Why the hell did they beep out that channel about that whole coronavirus lady coming in to BC? Why did they do that to my video? I can't fathom why they would do that.
You think they did it on purpose?
No, because the video is not like that, like I uploaded. And then I uploaded it 3 times, and I keep getting some error, so I retweaked the video and re-recorded it, threw it up, and then now it's got this beep going through it and this blackness and you know?
I tried to watch the video. It wouldn't play. Like, I would lose the play. Every time I tried, and I'd log off and shut down YouTube and open it again. It wouldn't work. Yeah, so it's not like I would hear a beep, but it would stop.
Because you go to the video here, but it actually resurfaces. If you go to it, it resurfaces towards the end.
Yeah, I have to give it a try because every time it would stop YouTube altogether. So I stopped trying. I'll try it again maybe later.
But it resurfaces around 6:40 towards the end of the video, which is really weird. Like, and you know what I was arguing about? I was arguing why. So, a lady coming in from Shanghai that's severely sick, she calls a taxi and goes home. Why didn't they incubate? That's why I was really upset with this. And why?
So where did that happen? Where did that happen? In Canada?
Yeah, in BC, in Vancouver, YVR.
Yeah.
Yeah, the article's
No,
there.
I mean, honestly, the Canadian media, honestly, is just a joke. I don't know how people actually sit down and read that stuff. But the other day, I was going up the elevator at work, and you know how they have these news headlines on those screens inside the elevators?
Mm-hmm.
It said only 8 cases of coronavirus in Canada, whereas the other day it was just 3. Remember, we had those 2 people in what was it? The hospital in Ontario, and then there was a 3rd person who was identified.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they said on that headline was like only 8, and this is so typical of Canadian media because it's such a, they just never want to alarm anyone. They always want to water it down as much as possible. Very sedative kind of communication. And, people are like, what, 8? Where did that come from? We thought it was just 3, because it's very typical. They don't want to alarm anyone. And so with this situation that you're saying in BC, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, media blackouts in Canada are a daily thing. But people think CNN is bad. I think.
But they said in the article that they don't want to inform the people 3 rows ahead and 3 rows behind and the people sitting next to her that it's not necessary to inform them that they were by a sick person. They actually said that in the article. The article, I mean, you can see part of it when I'm reading it on the. You could look up the article. Why do they think it's not a good thing to contact people that were on that flight just to let them know?
I don't know. I don't know. They are hateful, evil people. Wicked. They're a wicked bunch.
Okay, now tell us your angle. What's going on with this?
They just don't care. Well, I don't see, for me, it's not so much as why do you think it's planned? Why do you think it's genetically engineered? Why do you think? For me, it's why do you not think it's that? I mean, how many more signs is it going to take for us to see that this is being played out right before our eyes? And it's not even hidden. It's on paper. It's already written down on paper. It's written in the Agenda 21. You can go download the PDF off the United Nations website. They were talking to Bill Gates the other day. He was giving his sexy presentation at some university, and he was blabbing about this, the world population and stuff. And what did he say? He said it. This is no one conspiring. This is no one inventing anything. He said it. What do you do with the world population? And then 3, 4, 7 words later, it was vaccines. This is what Bill Gates specializes in. He goes around poisoning people all over the world. He killed off 10,000 people in India the other day. They raised a lawsuit, didn't go anywhere. The Bill and Melinda Foundation is in the business of pimping vaccines. That's what they do. And they say it. And the thing is that they say it. This is neither tinfoil theorizing. This is not conspiracy theories. This is written on paper, spoken by the people in the business. And I don't think they're, to be honest, I don't think they're trying to hide it anymore. I don't think they care anymore to hide it. I mean, you have people, those climate change activists who go around saying you should eat babies and you should, and there are churches who support suicide, it's already gotten really deep into people's heads. It's not a secret thing anymore. I'm not sure, why this is even considered a conspiracy theory. And do we not genetic engineer anything? Genetic engineering has been going on for decades. This is not new. Monsanto has been genetically engineering corn for centuries. Soy is the most genetically engineered crop in the world. Cotton is genetically engineered. There are so many instances that, this is really old news. Like, why would they be incapable of splicing a few genes between HIV and the common flu? Mm-hmm. Why would they not be able to do that? This is pretty much day-to-day biomedical engineering at this point. I'm not really seeing this as a major thing. The only thing that's major is, the biowarfare aspect of it. The fact that it is intentionally deployed in these ways. And that too is not new. The Zika virus, that sounds like a trial run.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, the coronavirus, it sounds like a big wet run. A very a massive operation that I insist checks many, many boxes like the ones that Raven had been going through. And I don't see why they wouldn't want to use such a massive operation to check many boxes. I don't see why they wouldn't. Mm-hmm. And then with Canada, there's something else going on with Canada, and I think we need to bring this to the table a bit more often now. There is a long-standing project about a Canada-United States merger.
The Great American Manifest Destiny, or are we talking about the Can-Am, or are we talking about the North American Union?
Right, exactly. So North American Union was one attempt. There was Lou Dobbs at the time, who was with CNN.
And then we're going to build a Trans-America Highway to go from Mexico City all the way to somewhere in Canada, right?
That's right. That's right. That was one of them. At the time, Lou Dobbs, he was at CNN. He blew the whistle on that one, so they sort of rebranded it. And then you got NAFTA. And, every so often, like even on the, what's his name, the What Palkin show? Steve Palkins? Is that what it is? One show in Canada, they were covering it. They call it the merger of the century. There is this project of merging Canada and the US. Now, I would think that if you're going to do something like that, a lot of Canada would be emptied.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A lot of Canada would be
everyone would just go stateside, right? It's too expensive to live up here, right?
Exactly.
So people would just go to
honestly,
Miami and Houston and you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I mean, I really think, honestly, and without meaning to offend anyone personally or in a sideways manner, Canada is just, it's not a viable operation. It is not. There are only very few parts of Canada that are viable to live in. It costs a fortune to run basic infrastructure in many parts of this country. Like, I work in telecom. If you're going to put up a tower anywhere up north, you can't recover the cost of that within 3, 5, 7 years. You put one in New York, you cover it within weeks. Mm-hmm. It's just impossible to run, an economy and a society effectively here. So if I were the Rothschilds, because the Rothschilds created Canada, like this is someone everyone should know, right? So if you put it yourself in their shoes and you say, okay, I'm going to create a company called Canada, and you invest that money in Canada, what you do is you give it a shot. You see how it runs. It does not run. Okay, this is too expensive to run basic infrastructure. It's hard and complicated to do basic things in most parts of Canada.
Yeah, it is. Like I said earlier, we're discussing, it costs you $600,000 to build a house in a little piece of, not for the land and the house, just to build a house in Vancouver, a 2,000 square foot house. My friend's pricing out a house. They want $600,000 large, and then permits and all that. You could build the same house in Arizona for $90,000 with better material.
That's right. That's right.
Crazy.
It's not a viable operation. I don't see how it's viable. It's a bit like the Gulf, where it's the other extreme, where it's so hot, the energy costs are also through the roofs. It's a bit the same idea. I mean, I think by the time oil is done in that region, the whole region is going to be done, because it's just not possible to run an economy in the desert like that. Mm-hmm. These are places for military bases and special operations. These are not places to run schools and community centers and a whole economy around, basic families and things like that. I just don't think it works. So when they've been talking about this merger for a long time now, and there was a recent interview in 2018, in Canada about the merger of the century, which would be between Canada and the US. And what's interesting is that now you have this Alberta thing going on, and they make right. And so the Wexit thing, what would happen? Well, the most natural thing for Alberta to do would be to annex to the United States, because Alberta has no way of getting its pipelines across unless it has different connections. If it's not going to be Canada, it needs to be a different connection, because,
Hello?
So what's wicked is that they make it seem like it's the people who want this. You know what I mean? So they've got this whole
They
Wexit
always
thing
make
going.
it seem like,
right?
again, we're gonna go back to basics. Like I said, the one of the teachers at the schools was fronting with me because he was upset I was calling my wife and not my partner, and he felt hurt about that. It's like, wow, really? We're on the brink of disaster like a crazy train, and you're worried if I call my wife or a partner.
Yeah, look, you know what I think, Mike? I think the LGBT agenda is way up there on their priority. It is way up there on their priority. This is an instrument to decimate society from within. Like, if I tell you the stuff I've been through today, I'm actually in a bad mood because I can't really unsee it. It's so rotten, it's not repeatable. But it's really way up there. The LGBT agenda is one of their top priorities. And I can tell you that because they're pushing it in the oddest places, including places like Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, of all places in the world, okay, they have now a group or more than one that has to do with, quote unquote, people who are different. So you start step by step over there in Saudi Arabia. They're pushing it all over the world. This seems to be a top priority. And honestly, I think a lot of people overlook how serious this is. I think people sort of, it's something people don't easily talk about. It's really taboo and it's so personal and things like that. But I think it's actually really, really serious, and people aren't taking it seriously enough. People think it's a personal thing. It happens to individuals, but this is an instrument that is being used to actively decimate societies, destroy families, destroy children, and turn them into blobs that are soon enough going to die off from cancer because of all of the drugs and the diseases and all of the hormone therapy that a lot of people are on now. Referrals to transitioning clinics have increased 4,500% over the last year.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Across the world.
Now, hold on.
Yeah.
Now, this is it's almost like a slap to the again, back to the basics again, back to basics. It's almost like a slap to everything, and it's almost like you said, it's not viable. You make a lot of sense on those points. There are a lot of key points you bring up there, and it's really powerful points, because it's like, if I was to say, Layla, here's $100 million to invest in Canada, what do? You can't buy property. You can't buy, because it's overvalued. You can't buy stocks because you don't know where they're going. You can't invest in oil because it's going down. Like, what do you do with $100 million in Canada?
That's right.
You can't.
That's
there's
right.
Nothing you could do. Like, I mean, like, let's say, we could be environmentalists and build a desalination plant so we could get more water. More fresh water, but then, like you said, it's going to take 1 million years to pay that desalination plant back.
That's the thing. Is that you can use $100 million, but it's what you get back from it, and that's the thing. There's no return. The ROI in Canada is really, really thin. It is really thin. People don't survive. It takes a lot to get something off the ground in this country. A lot.
Yeah.
Even brick and mortar businesses, the competition is so tight because of online. I think part of this, yeah, absolutely, because of these factors. It's just not a viable operation. Like, I can see the owners, the Rothschilds and other people looking at this Canada thing and seeing, guys, this is not a good investment. We cannot stand on both feet operating in this country. It is an extremely harsh environment, sparsely populated, will never be densely populated. It's impossible. It's impossible to move populations up north. They're going to be concentrated in, the Vancouver and Montreal and Toronto, and that is part of the plan. And so why did I bring this up? I brought it up because, depopulation, like, I cannot see how anyone is still objecting to the fact that this is an active agenda. It's on paper. It's on paper. They say it. They're constantly pushing the idea of depopulation. They're getting people to stand and protest saying you need to eat babies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what's it going to take? What's it going to take for us to acknowledge that that's where they're heading?
Well, it's just gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be it's gonna be brought up in conversation, then it's gonna get revisited, and then it's gonna be normal, and then we're just living with it, and then that's just how it goes. That's how the cookie's been crumbling for the last 6-7 years, and I just could have never fathomed 7 years ago that we'd be in this situation that we are in today. I could have never ever imagine this. People would have put me in a loony bin 20 years ago if I said this is going to happen in the future. They'd actually have me medicated
absolutely.
and put into some sort of like isolation from the rest of the world.
Well, actually, the alarmists, you know, they got a response a long time ago. Mm-hmm. There was this woman in Australia who raised the flag against the alarmists, and the Club of Rome was founded a bunch of years ago, right? The Club of Rome is in the 60s, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, right? Yeah, it's old. And it's at that time people already started seeing it. We're not the first people sounding the alarms about this. You know, people before us have been saying that this is an agenda and, you know, this is where they're heading with all of this. And the climate alarmist agenda, you know, it's old. They've been responding to this for a while now. Mm-hmm. So I don't see how anyone can say that depopulation is not one of their plan. Bill Gates talks about depopulation every time he gets to speak. It's way up there on the UN agenda. You know, so what does that do? So the coronavirus it's a wet run. It's a very big wet run. And you know, I am always of two minds about China. Like, I don't know why they seem to play on both ends. So they're hoarding gold, and they want to operate outside the banking system. And that's what we want, right? Because we don't want fiat currency, right? Fiat currency, bad. Gold, good. Do we agree on that?
Well, of course. Fiat currency basically it gnaws away at your wealth, right? And then with them thinking about going into negative interest rates, that's even going to cripple us even further, where they're going to start rewarding people that borrow and the savers get punished.
Exactly. But who's pushing fiat currencies?
Everybody is. You know what America's number one export is? It's inflation.
The US is. Exactly. But it's Russia and China who have been hoarding gold.
Right. They've been selling their treasury bonds and buying gold, and they've been doing that for the last 5 years.
Right. So this is definitely a threat to the banking cartel. So this is another bankers' war. You know, and on top of that, all of the deals that are happening not just outside of the dollar, not just in petro yuan, but outside of the banking system altogether, barter trade deals worth billions of dollars. These are all out of the banking system cartel. And every time something like this happened, we know there's a war. It happened to Gaddafi. It happened to Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein was switching over to euros, and they needed freedom.
Yeah, and he wanted to do something else with the oil.
Right.
Every time there's a move away from the banking system that is that is based on fiat currencies, there are these massive wars. So because China is a military superpower as well, maybe it wasn't a traditional war that they were going to use this time. Maybe that's where the biowarfare element came in. That's one possibility. Another possibility is maybe they themselves, the Chinese, are actually testing it because they too are on the depopulation agenda. And honestly, if I were them, I would be concerned about running a 1.6 billion person operation.
Yep, I call it the red dragon, the big red dragon. China's the big red dragon when it comes to energy consumption, the number one energy consuming country on the planet.
Well, exactly. So how do you manage a population like that? So on the other hand, even though China is against the banking cartel and wants to do its own banking system with Russia and the region, I can see them also buying into the agenda because, you know, they would benefit. And at the same time, they seem to have a record for testing these technologies to implement in the Western world. Mm-hmm. So that's what they're doing with 5G. And that's why the only person who's resisting the Huawei is Trump. But I think that's a pretense. I don't really believe him on this one. And Boris Johnson is allowing for Huawei. The whole of Europe, is allowing for Huawei. Why? Because they are leading the testing of the 5G. And they implemented it in where? In Australia? Was it Queensland or which?
No, it was in Darwin. We covered
Darwin.
that on Mike in the Night like 3 months
That's
ago,
right.
where Darwin was rolling out the 5G and started surveilling their own people.
Yeah, that's a pilot, and that's a pilot.
Right.
So you see, they seem to be testing these things for their clients, basically.
Mm-hmm. Basically, like I said, it gets brought up in discussion, then it gets written on paper, then it gets revisited, and then it becomes reality, and then it becomes law, and then it becomes the norm. That's usually how it goes through these little phases, so people could kind of usher in this new movement. But you know what? Human beings are resilient. I think there's enough of us that still understand the tricks, the card games, the sly moves, the card up the sleeve. There's a lot of us still.
We do, but the question is, well, what do you do if it really does hit the fan? Like for me, I think about it like I'm due to travel soon, and for me, this is a really critical trip because I would love to not come back. Be very honest with you, I can't stand being here anymore. Mm-hmm. I have to wonder if our war zones in the Middle East are actually safer from everything else that's happening here. I really have to wonder this at this point. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In a country like Syria, the only country on the planet that is not indebted to the IMF. Mm-hmm. Now, I think people see why we've been in a war, what we have been fighting for the past 7-8 years.
Well, a lot of countries have been fighting the World Bank, right? Portugal did for many years. They've resisted the World Bank.
Caved, didn't they? Huh? Didn't they? They caved, didn't they? They've eventually they did. And
Salazar died. Salazar, our leader, the leader of Portugal, died. When Salazar died, they basically said you join the World Bank or your country join, because we had a bunch of countries. We didn't need to know World Bank. We had our own trade ports. We had our own, but no, they were sanctioning the crap out of Portugal, impoverishing the country. Portugal was neutral during World War I and II. It should be a thriving nation after World War II, but no, they sanctioned the crap out of the people, starved them to death. Okay, because and then they started wars in Portuguese Africa, and then we lost Brazil. It was a big thing. We lost Goa.
There you go.
We lost them, but
exactly.
They pushed it because they didn't want the Portuguese to have anything. They didn't want the Portuguese. And if people look back and look at the Portuguese history and how they ran their trade and ran their barter and ran their trade sectors between ports, they actually had it right. There was one of the very few nations that actually had it right, and they didn't depend on selling opium like the East Indian Trading Company, the biggest drug dealers on earth. The Portuguese did it right.
Exactly. Yeah, but at this point they are in the European Union, mm-hmm. And they're being told how to live and what to grow off their land.
Right.
And that's something that the Middle East does not want. And I think that Westerners really underestimate the importance of the Middle East in all of this. Mm-hmm. Like the Israel connection and all of that is something that is really underrated. And I can see why, because, it's not in the news, and, it's a major ally of the U.S., but it's not just an ally. I personally think the whole of the U.S. exists just to service Israel, and I think that it's very key for them. But actually right now, like one of the points that I think other folks, I forget who exactly were mentioning, was that the coronavirus is covering a lot of other news as well. And that is true. Like the deal of the century, for example, dead on arrival. That's not going anywhere. Like the Kushner deal is just, it's a joke. So that's a huge deal, because this means that Israel has no future. And in fact, there's a prophecy flying around that 2022 is the end date, is the end game for Israel. And a few years after that, it's going to be completely erased. Again, so that's not something they want to inform North America about. They don't want to. They don't want to hear about that, but this is news in our parts of the world. That's one. Sorry, Mike. And just another one is all of the Iraq thing that voted out the U.S. Iraq does not want the U.S. anymore. Do you know how much money the U.S. can lose if they lose on military deals?
And not even that. It's also Philippines doesn't want the U.S. there anymore.
Yes, I was just going to say that. God bless him. He's one of my favorite leaders, that guy. I'm such a fan of him. Duterte pulled out. And it's also awesome what he's doing to that media company. Bless him. Because there is foreign influence in there, So all of these are happening right now, and we're not hearing a thing about them. Like the post-Soleimani issues. I told you the other day they downed that plane in Afghanistan, a CIA plane, and apparently one of the guy who was on there, who was killed in that plane, was the guy who engineered the Soleimani killing. And on top of that, there were a whole lot of other sensitive documents in that plane. So it's not like, a lot of things are happening in retaliation to this, and nothing is being heard about it in the West. And instead, we're hearing about the coronavirus virus right now.
Well, can I say something? Do you know that before World War I? Do you know that a lot of people don't know this, but before World War I, do you know that Arabs, Jews, Muslims, all at one point, like just before World War I, lived side by side, neighbor by neighbor, no segregation, without problems for a long time?
So Mike, you're telling us like we have to.
What I'm trying to say is
something
what happened
that
is the
people
politics
get wrong.
got involved.
I'm not saying you're getting right. Well, here's what. But Judaism is a religion. It is not a nationality, and it is not an ethnicity.
No, I understand that, but
right?
I'm just saying
there are Arab
people
Jews,
of different cultural backgrounds live side by side for many years without this. What we're having today is what I'm trying to say.
So Israel wants to create a nation based on a religion.
Again,
and
now
then
it's going into politics now.
Right? And then they're upset. They're upset that Muslims want to create a caliphate.
Right. But again, we're getting into the whole political thing, the whole political spectrum of thing, right? That's why you got to leave religion out of politics and politics out of religion and science out of religion and all that other.
Well, we totally agree with that. And that's why it doesn't make, sense to create a state based on a religion and then call it secular. And then the best part is, of course, you have to have the Pride Parade in Tel Aviv. So they can come and tell us that we Arabs are intolerant of gays because we know exactly what they're in the region to do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, they get upset that Muslims want to create their own systems based on a religion. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? But like Jews, there are Arab Jews, there are African Jews, mm-hmm. there are Yemeni Jews, plenty of Yemeni Jews. So Judaism is a religion; it's not a nationality.
Well, I understand that.
Yeah. So the foundation of Zionism, which is what's behind the state of Israel, is actually false.
I totally agree. But what I'm trying to say is that before all this crap and all this media and this all interconnection between one another, people lived side by side, neighbor to neighbor. There wasn't this kind of unsettledness going around. This wasn't, people loved each other. People actually looked out for each other. They didn't divide or segregate themselves by religion, or didn't, they just kind of lived with each other. They got along with each other.
That's definitely what people say. Yeah, that's what I hear people say in Palestine, like people who lived there, like, because the three, it's a place that concentrates all three together in a very sacred way. And they tell us stories that, everyone was living there normally until the state of Israel was created. And similar with Muslims. They were all living together until the politics came in and they started dividing Arabs between each other, between Sunnis and Shia.
Yeah, and in Africa, if they couldn't find a religion to divide them between, they just created different factions and divided countries in Africa when they couldn't find religions to separate them from.
It's called divide and conquer.
That's right. But in Africa, they're all Catholic. Okay, well, let's form a party in the north and then separate this and didn't Obama split an African country in half?
Yes. You see that's really key. Actually, sectarianism.
Yeah.
is a format that very much supports this divide and conquer agenda, because what they do through sectarianism is they put their cronies in there as representatives in the House, in the Parliament, in whatever. And these cronies, these people, these agents, they start pushing the agendas. And that's why the protest in Lebanon was so critical, because Lebanon is a pivotal sectarian country. that enables the agenda to move forward through some people. I'm not going to mention names. To some people, and they have, they promote the Israeli agenda. They support the banking cartel. The globalists, the George Soros people are in there. So they can successfully do that through a sectarian format for the government. They're not able to do that in a place like Syria, which is a secular country where you have one leadership and there are not these divisions that enable this divide and conquer format. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Totally.
in fact, their so-called democracies are not democracies at all. These are formats to enable a divide and conquer
That's exactly
approach
what it is.
to. Yes.
And that's what humanity has been struggling with. And that's why I keep saying it's a segregation in our minds. And it's these walls that we create in our minds. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, I love everybody. I don't care who they are, where they're from, or what they do, or what they did. Or I know that sounds like a song from the Backstreet Boys, but no, it's, I don't know. I think we've gone too far with this. And I think this whole division we've created amongst ourselves is what's destroying the reason why we're here in the first place on this earth.
Well, we didn't create it. We didn't create it amongst ourselves. There's an elite with an agenda here.
Oh yeah,
Mike.
I understand that, but people follow that after, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah,
And
yes, they are. Most
arms.
people are simple.
Mm-hmm.
Truth be told, yeah.
We take to
it's
arms.
Unfortunate.
We go to arms in favor of what we were told that is right, right?
Yeah.
And then, again, that's a division we've created, right? Whether it's a fence, a wall, or if it's in our minds, there's always segregation going on within us, and that's how we're separating our soul, our basic way of life is being taken from us in a way where we're not at one with each other anymore, because we just refuse to accept certain things that just, if you look at it from a different angle, you could see that it's a waste of energy and time and human life and labor.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, people are believing that you can change your gender. And I'm not going to use that word. I hate that word. You can change your sex. People actually believe that now.
Mm-hmm.
So if they believe something so obvious as night and day,
mm-hmm.
They're perverting something as basic as night and day, it's going to be really easy to get them to think about all sorts of other things like the economy and politics and race and, all sorts of things.
Exactly. And that's what starts opening up. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what people's or sexual orientation. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's just I don't go pushing the Portuguese language. I'm a Portuguese. I don't go pushing telling people to learn Portuguese. I don't push. You know what I'm saying? I don't do that. Even though I like my culture, I understand blah blah blah, and we have a kind of level, like a certain level of life we live or we're used to and stuff. But I don't go push that. I introduce it to my children because this is something, you know what I'm saying, a cultural thing. Everyone's born with some sort of a culture or a way, but they're trying to even take the culture from us, and that's the scary part.
Absolutely. Like when you did that video about, you can't say wife anymore. And like, honestly, that really upset me. And to be honest with you, sometimes I rehearse lines. Like I imagine that if I were in a situation like that, what would I say? And honestly, one of the lines that I rehearse is, the answer is no. Don't invite us to move to this country if you're not going to respect us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Just don't invite, don't invite us to come here if you're going to insult us. Something so basic. Life was much better before Canada. I can tell you that for my part.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really upsetting. But you can't. You have to. When people tell you something like that, you have to say no. You have to use the word no. Because people are kind, and people like you, they're kind. They accept. They don't respond. They don't talk back to it. But I think you really need to, you really need to say no. You are going to respect my preference. I use husband and wife.
Oh,
and
that's what I said.
The more they
no,
push that,
my
the
wife.
more we
That's
go in
my
the
wife.
opposite direction. Exactly. Yeah. It's it's really, they're really insulting.
Mm-hmm. It is.
They're
And I
really
said, no,
insulting.
that's my wife right there. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and I was gonna
And
go
they're
into it.
hateful.
I got kind of upset. And you know what? She cooks for me. She cleans. She does all the housework and raises the kids just to make them push them. You know what I'm saying?
And for them, that's actually insulting. Can you? This is not just this is the degree of hatefulness they have toward women.
Yeah. Exactly.
That women choose to raise their kids and to support their husbands and run a clean home and a proper home, because that actually supports the future of everyone. That's insulting.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't get a job. I'm not saying it's bad to get a job.
And Layla,
but this too is a job, and it's a very important job. And to demean women in this way just goes to show how hateful they are.
But if you go back to Women's Day last year, our prime minister talked about Women's Day and the whole thing about getting women into the job, getting women into more and blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But the president of Brazil, his Women's Day thing was women are a support pillar in the house. Women keep the house sane, keep their husbands in check. Women are a very important pillar to raising a proper family and all that stuff. And in Canada's speech on Women's Day was about career and focusing on a future and all kinds of other stuff. Complete two opposites of the spectrum. One was in Portuguese and one was in English. And it was completely two opposite sides of what Brazil thinks and what Canada thinks when it comes to how they address Women's Day.
So Brazil is Bolsonaro, right? It's the Bolsonaro guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. It's clear what his background is. I don't have a problem with women working. I work and my mom.
No one does.
Stuff. But
it's
but to insult women that because they want to be there for their kids and they want to be there for their husbands and nurture these very critical relationships that are the fundamental, the cornerstone of society, is not just an insult to women and to their freedom and to their ability to choose a variety of lifestyles, because that is the truth about women, that they seem to have, at least I think they have a bit more choice than men. They need to be closer to the home, to their children, certainly in the formative years. But it's also, it's very clear that it's an agenda. And I wish I could tell you that women are happy. If you look at the statistics, there are a lot of unhappy women on the job, a lot of them. I'm not saying necessarily that they would be happier if they married. No, I'm not going to corner anyone in these ways or assume that I understand every person's situation. But it's like they want to close off the family altogether. It's not that they want to open choice. No, they're saying just one direction, and that's career, as in the job market, not the home. You know what I mean?
I know what you totally mean. I get it. Yeah, totally. But you know what? I just
come back. He has absolutely no business talking anything about women. This one, nothing. He is a perv, and the two women who were honest in his cabinet, he fired them.
Yep. That's just how it flies, It just, when it goes against
nothing
your
to do with
like if I do it, it's illegal. But if the government does it, it's fine, and that's what we call tyranny.
Yeah, and the best part are all of these idiot liberals, watching him stand and say, why, what was it? Because it's 2015. And you had all of these silly women melting, it's like, oh yes, he loves us. Like, really? You can't tell a liar when you see one. And for someone as cheap as Trudeau, it wasn't
old ways. You could see through the crap.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to what point, like you're saying that, how they confused us into, mistaking religion for politics and all of that. Look at this. You have a liar, lying through his teeth every moment of the day, and people are still voting for him.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's, the sad part is maybe that's just what the people want. I know it's sad to hear that, but that's, I voted for the Maxime Bernier guy.
Yeah, and I think that was the only thing we could do. And again, that is not helpful, because like someone was saying, he does have a history in the Conservative Party too. These guys are just recycled across the board, they're just different formats for the same agenda. Honestly, I don't buy into any of them. Mm-hmm. Don't buy into any of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Layla, I'm gonna have to let you go because it's getting late.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's 3 a.m. where I am.
Oh my God, go to sleep. Thanks so much for coming on and dropping a few bombs on the show.
I did a few bombs. Is it going to be flagged? Was it flagged the first time?
No, the video, no, it doesn't get flagged. There's no monetization on Mike in the Night anymore because it is what it is. I don't care, right? And that's why a lot of people are joining the channel, and that's good. When people join, they pay $1 or $2 a month, and it doesn't even buy coffee anymore.
I'm gonna make a donation before I travel. My thing with I'm gonna make a donation to you before I travel.
Oh no,
but
don't worry about
for
it.
me, I don't like recurring costs. Like my policy is to avoid all recurring costs when I can. So I think I'll just
don't worry about that. No. It's no. Don't worry. I'm not worried. No. It's just I just want to make the channel look profitable. So then this way I don't have any troubles with YouTube type of thing.
Yeah.
So they could see, oh, the channel makes money.
No,
So we don't want to kind of.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like you're worried that. I think they want necessarily every single channel to be a monetized channel. I can see them moving that forward in that direction over time, but not so much in the near future, Mike, I think. Mm-hmm. So hopefully you'll be running for some time. Like, remember, we had that scare towards December, and now you're fine, right?
Yeah.
Like you were worried they were going to shut down. Yeah.
Well, they're going to shut down. They shut down quite a few channels, actually. So
they did, but I think for different reasons. And by the way, Mike, you know that thing where you lose subscriber counts? This happens to every single channel, regardless of whether it's politics or not, because they have these crawlers that go over the whole of YouTube, and it just takes a few years because there's billions of videos and millions of channels. So what they do is all of these old accounts, these dead accounts, these spam accounts, they remove them. So every channel goes through a subscriber count loss. It's not just because it's politics or anything like that.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. Okay. All right, Layla. You have a good night, good morning, and we'll talk soon, okay?
You too. Thanks so much, Mike, and everyone else.
Okay,
thanks.
God bless you. Bye.
God bless you. Bye.
All right. Wow. Let me get Supreme on for 4 minutes. We got to get Supreme. Is this Supreme? I have like 40 Supreme cannons on here. Yeah, this is Supreme cannon.
What's up, buddy?
Good to hear you, man. Yeah, I'll get you on for a few minutes before we close off the show.
Sure.
First question, what the hell did you think of that video I put up about the lady coming into Canada, into BC with the virus, and then did you see that video?
No, but I heard about it.
Yeah. So it's just beeping and beeping, and I put it up a few times. I don't know what the trigger words. I think it could be the CV. I was saying CV virus. And it's bleeping me. It's beeping me on when I'm talking about specific locations, times, and places.
Yeah, I've never seen that in any other video. It's probably not a coincidence, but someone's experimenting with you from the sounds of it. I've just never heard that anywhere else.
Yeah, that's weird. I saw that because I was hoping you were going to come and visit me, and I was going to show you the video on my desktop to show you it, and then show you the video that was uploaded, and you'd be like, "What the hell's going on here?" Right?
Yeah, well, I planned to, and then I got a text in the morning. First thing, I had to go on a parts run, so I had to change my plans.
Okay. I was hoping you. Everyone kept coming in the store. I was hoping you were going to come in.
Yeah, I'm planning to. I'll be in. I don't think anything will happen next week. I'll be in next Saturday because I'm going to meet up with my boy in Merritt on Sunday. So I'll just come into town It's getting better, yeah. So the plan is to get in there, and then I'll just spend the night in Merritt and meet up with my boy on Sunday.
Good. Yeah, do that. Do something like that. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, if you're gonna spend the night, maybe we could go out for dinner or something.
Well, that sounds great. Yeah, I'm totally down for that.
Yeah, we could hang out, do stuff. So, any updates on what's your angle on? Has your thoughts changed on the CV virus, or what do you think, man? What do you got on your mind?
After 3 hours of this, we're doomed. We're so friggin' doomed. I'm swilling Fireball out of the bottle listening to this stuff. My God. It got away on them, obviously. right? I mean, it's politics, it's corruption, it's stupidity. I mean, the phrase Chinese fire drill exists for a reason. Okay, they are, it's everything's fine, and now it's the other way around. Now they're telling the world that this thing is going to kill everybody if they get it twice. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We're going to need another month to get some actual facts. You got anything you hear, it takes 30 days. The problem is it's 24 days for the incubation period. So this thing has been around the world, obviously, and it's going to explode. Next month, it'll be a completely different story. But by then, we're going to have, that's about the time I think the air pockets in the supply chain are going to start showing up.
Well, we're seeing a lot of auto manufacturers go grinding to a halt because they can't get parts. You're starting to see all kinds of things starting to take hits. Give it another week. I mean, we're doing Mike in the Night every week, and it's been a slow crawl, but we're starting to see it come apart slowly as we go every week.
Oh, it's going completely hockey stick, yeah, and it's going to be there's going to be a domino effect because every part of the supply chain runs on credit, right? This just-in-time system, everybody wants to keep low inventories as much as possible, but somewhere along the line, you've got these container ships going back and forth like this enormous conveyor belt across the Pacific. Everything's got like a 30-day delay to get from there to here and back again. Right, so all of this is running on credit and 12 different layers of credit or probably more. So when things start drying up, there's going to be some crashes. There's going to be some seizures. Hanjin, remember 4 or 5 years ago, Hanjin, I forget how large a container operation they were, but they literally shut down and parked their ships wherever they were. There was one parked in Prince Rupert until somebody came out with the money to pay them to go home again.
What was that shipping that what was that in China?
Hanjin was Korean, but they had expanded. They'd ordered a bunch of ships, and they just things took a dump in 2015. It looked bad then. I was surprised we didn't have a big crash then, but things started to pick up again.
Okay, sorry,
obviously
I thought it was in a Chinese problem because it's a long story, but yeah, I was actually dating a girl from China. Her parents owned like a shipping kind of dock thingy. Part owners of a major port in China. And when you said that name, it sounded familiar, like it was the one they owned in China. In one of the
it could be.
Yeah, one of the northern provinces. But yeah, that just brought back a memory there. It's like, whoa. It's like, yeah. So, okay, angles. So the lady comes in on a plane, admits that she has the virus. She's sick. They tell her, here's a car, go home into the interior of BC. What the heck is going on? And then they're saying, oh, yeah, we don't think we should inform the 3 rows ahead and 3 rows back and left and right of her that she was sick. There's no reason to let them know that. What the hell?
I have a feeling that this whole outbreak started the same way. If this came out of that lab in Wuhan, for example, and I was talking about that with Three Right. We were Skyping for a little while there. It could very well be in a place that corrupt. Somebody dropped a damn test tube and then just swept it all out the door and said, "Oh, hope nobody found out." That's the kind of mentality you're dealing with. And it's going to go all the way up and down the chain. It's going to happen to the airlines. And yeah, somebody gets into the country. They're obviously sick, and they're obviously Asian, right?
Well,
you would think the smart thing to do when they arrive. They get armed with flyers. That's right. Flyers solve everything. And once you're on this Canadian magic soil, nothing's going to happen to you here anyway, right? We can bring in anybody and turn them into a Canadian. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's no problem at all. So it's neglect. It's just shoddy. They're at a point in time where anything coming from over there should get some kind of surveillance.
Well, yeah.
Maybe she sweet talked him and told him that it was something else, or maybe she was able to hide it.
She specifically told him.
Yeah.
She didn't lie. Not like the lady that went to France that posted on Facebook and was eating delicacies and all that stuff and posting on Facebook how she took a bunch of pills to get out of China and to board the flight to Paris.
Oh, yeah. No, that was ridiculous. God, can you imagine?
Why? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, in a way, economically, and now with this silly bug, the world is getting a global STD because of this unprotected economic intercourse
Right
going on
here.
all over the world.
Raven, sorry,
Yeah.
Supreme Canon just patent and is going to take this, coining this. The world has been unprotected, and the world's got an economic STD. Right there,
Yeah,
from
that's right.
Supreme Canon's mouth. Right there, he just coined that term.
Yeah, it's a disturbing image, I admit, but that's kind of what's happened. We've had 30 odd years of this global trade and this whole, God Almighty, this neo-Babylonian mentality where we're all the same and we're gonna bring down the borders and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and this is what's happened. Like we've got this situation now where what if it did come from bats? What if it did come from something in a wet market? What if it came from a place so corrupt and so careless, and we're all completely unprotected everywhere in the developed world because of this attitude that we're all one love and the whole world's just going to be one big rainbow cookie collective, and we're all family and the rest of it.
And
Well,
you know
there's
what?
a
And you know
reason
what?
why
And you know
families
what?
talk.
If we weren't so damn greedy for the dollar, it actually could be like that. We could actually not living in nirvana or a utopic society. No, I'm just talking about that. If there
Yeah.
wasn't so much greed for the money and there was more love, I honestly wholeheartedly believe that we wouldn't be in this massive situation or this mess we're in right now.
Yeah, but the problem is they're spreading this message of love precisely because of greed for the dollar. It's a lie. It's got nothing to do with love. It's just nothing like that. It's about greed. It's about
it's
about
greed. If it wasn't about
maximizing
if
profits.
people weren't so money hungry, we wouldn't be in this. The 1% needs to be the top 0.5%, and then the 0.2%. It's like it never ends, right?
No, it doesn't seem to end. No, but the thing is, Mike, we've had in the last 100 years. Okay, we've had 2 global wars. We've had at least 1 global pandemic, with between upwards of 50 million dead. Okay, we've had 2 major global banking collapses, if you count 2008, and considering the number of people who aren't going to retire now because of that, you can definitely call that a collapse. Okay, they've had plenty of time to own everything and take over.
Mm-hmm.
So either they really aren't that smart, okay, or it's a little more complicated than we're letting on here. Yes, I don't doubt there's all kinds of weirdness behind the scenes. Anytime that you have powerful people playing golf, they're coming up with high-level decisions that affect the lives of potentially millions of people, and they do it before lunch. It happens all the time. Anyone who has ever participated in a surprise birthday party knows that conspiracies are a natural part of life. Okay, so it's not that controversial. Secret treaties are signed all the time. I'm pretty sure that the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany, I don't think, announced to the world ahead of time that they had well, I think the world knew there was a non-aggression pact, but I don't think it was something that was on the, it wasn't in the Toronto Star. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this happens, but it's complicated. And a lot of it is, they do this to make money. It's not necessarily about controlling everybody. It's about making money. In the end, it's about greed. Greed for power, yes, but also greed for money. If you can just print money out of thin air, Mike, and make these dark pools of capital to manipulate markets, then why the hell are they going through all this trouble to maintain these drug networks and these human trafficking networks and all this money laundering?
Sure.
In the end, they have to take this money and they still have to put it into things that at least look honest. So that would suggest to me that honest people still have a lot more power than it appears.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the more honest people are aware how they've been shucked and jived for the last 50 years, the less power they have to move the needle. So it's not, this virus, if it is what it looks like we're looking at, yes, this is damn serious. This is horrendous. Okay, but it's going to be a political and an economic volcano too. And the thing about chaos is you still have to be in control of it to create the order you want. That in the end, that's why guys like me and Raven and you and half the people on here are preparing, because we're going to make damn good and sure that if and when this chaos arrives, we're going to make the most of it too.
Oh, it's a
we're
fight
gonna
to the
be
knife, man. Right to the
we're
end.
going to be a lot harder target for these people than it would appear. And that's the thing. And we're not alone. We're not alone by any means. You know that.
No.
Right?
Like I said, there's a lot of
your viewers.
We're resilient. There's a lot of us out there that know the game, know the tricks, know the card up the sleeve. We know. There's a lot of us out there that know.
Definitely. And they know that, and like I've said before, the elites, they don't all love each other. I think this Trump thing is an elitist civil war going on right now. They are mad as hell about this guy. Now, that does not mean he's a hero. He could be the friggin' beast for all we know. You know? Because, and that's another thing. I see some evangelicals on here. I'm going to take 10 seconds for this. Don't talk about the mark of the beast until the beast is in control. And the beast is not in control. We're still dealing with a Babylonian system here. Okay, we got a while, guys. So prepare, pay down your debts, occupy till I come, Jesus said. All right, stay busy.
That's when Paul wrote the letter, says we're preparing for Jesus' arrival. We're getting ready. He's like, no. Paul wrote back in one of his letters to one of them, then says, the time will come when an evil man tries to take over the world and take the place of God. And that's when basically things will hit the fan. So get back to work. Those who do not work do not get fed.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. And it was the same thing that, Raven, you know all that stuff. It was the same thing in the Babylonian captivity. They got the word, you're going to be here for a while. Have families, plant trees, plant crops, buy houses. You're going to be here for a while. You'll probably leave someday, and it's exactly the same now. Occupy. Guys, you understand the money tricks, okay? So use their techniques. You understand how it's working. Protect yourself. You know that there's a possibility we're going to have at very least an economic you're going to have an economic disruption. Whether you like it or not, it's coming. We're going to have a break in the supply chain. And here in Canada, where our emphasis is on commodity production and things like that.
No, not even that. You can't call your wife your wife. You got to call her your partner.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. This is the thing. If Raven, I wish, man. In my head, maybe. If the thing is that if they make a government policy, you got to use terms like partners. They're trying to tell you, well, that offends me. Don't say that, right? And then all you have to do to say to someone like that on the street is, well, I disagree, but you do you. I'm going to do me, you do you. My opinion is real simple. My granddaddy's generation didn't defeat the freaking Nazis, real live Nazis, so I could have my wings clipped by little purple-haired Marxist pigs.
No, that's not going to fly.
They can pound sand up their ass.
You get it?
Not
that's not going to fly. That's not going to fly.
Not going to happen.
Clip your wings.
That's not going to. That's exactly right. They're not going to fly. I'm going to fly all I want.
That's right.
Sorry for the vernacular, guys, but this stuff gets me. They want to bring in the fourth industrial revolution, which is artificial intelligence. They probably have developed that, Angela. They probably have a lot of it.
Don't forget transhumanism.
Agenda 21 and transhumanism and the rest of it. Yeah, these are weird, freaky people, right? Like the Georgia Guidestones and the 500 million. They are weird, freaking nerdy creeps. That's what they are. They're freaking dweebs. Who comes up with this garbage? Like, you should laugh at them a little bit. It's like, I got a patch of dirt here. I can grow whatever I want. And they don't have enough. There isn't enough soldiers in the world to go take everything from everybody. It's complicated. It's like playing a Jenga game. Right? It's not easy, and it all falls apart. Look how many times the world has fallen under some kind of hegemony, right? From the Roman Empire to the Holy Roman Empire to Napoleon.
I think one of the biggest,
damn thing.
Like it went from slavery. Then you got the age of Christ. Then that changed the whole world right there. And then
definitely.
Then from there was the bubonic plague, and then you had the Dark Ages, then the bubonic plague, the fall of Rome, the Dark Ages, the bubonic plague, in that order. You had all kinds of events that changed the course of Earth.
Yeah. Lord Humongous just mentioned something, and I want to speak to that because this is important to remember too. Communist FDR dragged America into World War II. Yes, he did. And it's
That's
yeah, FDR is
Roosevelt.
the Roosevelt. That's
Yeah.
right, exactly. Yeah, yeah, he was kind of an American Caesar. Good God.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
That's right, exactly. So they provoked the Japanese into attacking Pearl Harbor. It wasn't so much a false flag; it's just something that they arranged. They made it so it was inevitable, right? It's not like they ordered the Japanese like you're moving pieces around on a risk game. Okay, they provoked Japan. If Japan had found another way not to attack, then America wouldn't have entered the war. Right, but eventually it got to the point that they pushed enough of Japan's buttons that they attacked Pearl Harbor because they got to a point where they realized that they have less than 2 years worth of oil left and raw materials. It's either now or never. Okay, so their calculation paid off and America got into the war. Now, it's generally acknowledged, okay, that it was a false flag now. All right, but these things are usually classified for at least 70 years, okay? Like there's a generation that's usually died off by the time this stuff comes out. The problem that they have now, yeah, it's a Rothschild game, Lord, I get it, but it's a complicated game. And the pieces have minds of their own, don't they?
Can I say why you're right, Supreme?
Go ahead.
I'll tell you why you're right. Because if they had this right the first time in their agenda, they wouldn't have to meet every friggin' year to make the world look like, oh, I can't be part of this group. Nobody cares about your group because you have to meet every year to talk about the same crap that you can't execute.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. Yeah, the problem that they're having now. Okay, yeah, 70 years are up, Lord. Exactly. Those 70 years are up. A lot of secrets are revealed at that point in time. Those things become declassified. But the problem is the lie needs to be concealed. Okay, but now we have this little complication that they thought was going to increase their control called the internet. And now these things get out within sometimes hours, right? There was something in air combat called the Boyd cycle, Mike.
Yeah.
It was invented by an American fighter pilot. Okay, or the OODA loop, right? Observe, orient, decide, and then act. And you can actually train fighter pilots so they can orient themselves and make decisions faster than the other guy. Okay, and so what's going on is you've got this informational Boyd cycle, right? Where they pull a con on you, a shuck and jive, a false flag, right? Crisis actors, all this stuff. Okay. And what happens is the idea is they pull another trick on you, and then the media basically storms any kind of contrary opinion, all right, and suppresses that information. There's always somebody that knows the truth,
well,
right?
They take opinion and make it fact
Lindbergh
now.
knew. Well, that's right. They decide what the facts are, and then you have to believe it. And if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter because you don't have a voice. They've deprived you of a platform.
Yeah.
That isn't true anymore either. Every time that they try to block you on this, or people like you on a platform like this, two things happen. Number one, alternative platforms begin popping up like weeds after the rain. Okay. And number two, and where the hell was I going with that? Somebody pops up with another channel, and they change their terminology.
And they're careful with their words, and they still get the message across.
And they're careful with their words. Exactly. You know, they're not gatekeepers of all of the truth anymore. Right? That they don't completely control the truth. Now, the whole idea was at that point is, well, it doesn't matter if you know the truth or not. We're going to we're going to prevent you from having a platform. And it's not quite working that way anymore. So instead of them being able to classify certain things and hide them for 70 years, now they're lucky if they get 3 months. And these people are not that coordinated. And most of them don't even like each other. You know what I mean?
And
like,
again,
they're
psychos. It goes back
huh?
to the drawing board. When they meet once a year, because they
Yeah.
can't get their ducks in a row, and then, the Bilderberg meeting, yeah, good, because they're losing. We're having a Bilderberg meeting because you know what, their agenda is not, they're trying, but you know what, I guess, like I said, humans are resilient. It's like we take it back all the time. Just like the Earth always finds a way to take itself back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's complicated. You've got 7 billion minds out there doing all this stuff. Yeah, that's right. W. Pizdetz just put it out there. Yeah, Tay. They had an artificial intelligence that they debuted on Twitter about 5 years ago, and it was going to communicate with the people, and they actually had to take it down because a bunch of 4chan guys taught it to start saying Heil Hitler.
Woo!
Yeah,
Wow.
you're up against autism here. Like they're not going to win. And this is the point I want to make. Everything that Raven was talking about and Layla was talking about and Lord Humongous was talking about, I know all about it. I tick all the boxes. I don't disagree with anything. Okay, but I think ultimately this thing is on a schedule and they're pushed for time. And I don't know why there's a schedule, but I think there's a schedule. Okay, I only differ on about 2 degrees here. I think they're not going to quite pull it off. If they did win, it will be a nightmare. If they lose, it will be a cataclysm. So the answer is going to be the same in either case, guys. You've got to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go about your business.
Earlier about what you said. Preparing
Yes.
is the most important thing. Maybe getting close with family, reaching out to people, kind of starting
Yeah.
networking again without the stupid
Yes.
cell phones and the electronics. Actually, really networking and getting to know your neighbors and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Daniel O'Brien, that's true too. The Japanese were killing millions of people building their empire. They had absolutely no scruples. It was a Bushido code applied to an entire population, and yeah, they had gone completely off the chain. They had to be stopped too.
It's kind of funny if you go into if you studied Portuguese history. The Portuguese were the 1st to arrive in Japan, right? And
Yeah,
the Portuguese
that's right.
were the first to introduce gunpowder to Japan. And when the Portuguese arrived, it was kind of funny. When they arrived in Japan and when they first started walking up the beach and they parked their boat and they started walking up to the coast, walking up into the inland, there was like 5 family feuds, like shogun family feuds, just blowing each other up. Not blowing just decimating each other. And then
Yeah.
the second the Portuguese arrived, everybody just stopped what they were doing. And they looked at
Yeah.
this, like, who are these guys? And it
Who are
was
these
like
guys?
they
Yeah.
just stopped right there in their tracks. And that, when the Portuguese arrived, they ended a lot of those wars that they had feuds between families. Why? Because the Portuguese brought Christianity.
Yeah, and they were a novelty, and they probably had a similar effect as the Spanish did in the with the Aztecs and the Incas.
The Portuguese weren't going with guns blazing. That's the thing.
No, that's true. That's
the
true.
Spanish
But
went shooting
but they had.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the Spanish. I mean, if you walked into what is now Mexico City and you saw that 5-story high wall of freaking skulls around that temple,
Mhm.
I don't blame them for burning it all down and slaughtering everybody. Frankly, because I would have too. I mean, think about the people and the things that we know that they're doing now, and how much we want to see them hang from lampposts, and they deserve it. And it's got nothing to do with culture. It's a matter of right and wrong, and everybody knows that. Yeah, exactly, Angela. There is a schedule. Even the Bible says there's a schedule, right? When the devil does appear in our dimension, he's ticked right off. He's just completely beside himself with anger because he doesn't have any time left, right? This whole thing is on a timetable, and the timetable was set centuries ago, and by the people who are long dead who got all this going, right? And they've tried to continue it, but they're starting to get interference because we're getting close to the end and people are starting to wake up. It's still going to be a dead run. It's going to be a race. The answer is still going to be the same. You have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare food. You got to get some kind of hard assets, and you have to prepare yourself mentally and spiritually, because at some point in time, and I say spiritually, you can interpret that however you want, folks, but it comes down to you got to get your mind right, because we're going to have revelations. We're going to have a lot of things come out that are going to put people in the hospital.
And what it's going to set a lot of things straight too.
Yeah, of the amount of evil going on behind the scenes. We're just getting the tip of the iceberg. It is absolutely ghastly. So you have to be prepared for that. Yeah, call it a reset. LG, that's fine. Yeah, whatever it's going to be. It's the idea of an apocalypse, right? When people think apocalypse, what do they think? They think mushroom clouds, ruined cities, and zombies and Mad Max. No, that's not what apocalypse means. Apocalypse means like the removing of a cover. Okay, it's a sudden uncovering. It's
the
an
showing of
unexpected,
one.
an unplanned revelation of what everything is going on, right? The man behind the curtain is suddenly there for everyone to see, so to speak, metaphorically. Of course, we're talking about a lot of things, rabbit holes, okay? Well, the whole rabbit hole will be opened up like you're looking at one of those ant farms, and you're going to see it all. And people are going to vomit. They're going to have heart attacks. The jig is up. People are going to be in the hospital. They will not believe what is going on.
But you know what? I think it's high time. I think it's high time that we got some sort of a change of thought too. I think it's high time we started thinking more. I don't know how to say it, but I think we're losing touch with ourselves. That's what that's all I'm. I think we're losing touch of who we are and what our purpose on this earth is.
Well, that's the purpose. I mean, this artificial intelligence and transhumanism is not as simple as it sounds.
No,
it's not. It's not going to be some kind of mass-produced thing. I don't think it will be. But the idea is they plant the seed in your head that we need a new renaissance. WPISDETs. That's exactly what we need.
Well, we're in the information age right now. Right? We're in the age of enlightenment. We're in the age of
Yeah, but it hasn't been an enlightenment, has it? I mean, how is this not a dark age? When people are running on a treadmill all day, every day to pay for their food and their rent, how are we not poor? How are we not serfs?
I bring that up all the time, but I'm saying we are now in a skyscraper. I call it the skyscraper dark ages.
That's exactly what it is. It's absolutely horrendous.
We're surrounded by technology, this gleaming forms of architect that we as humans have erected from the ground to the sky, but yet we're in a skyscraper dark age.
We are. We got this. Look at architecture now. It's brutalist. It's dehumanizing.
Yep.
It's all about efficiency and money and profit, and it's got nothing to do with
cutting
aesthetics.
Corners and risking people's lives. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That we're losing our roots, or who. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there is a great information age. The days of Noah were a great information age. The Book of Jasher, if anyone's ever heard of that, talks about that.
And the Book of Enoch's really good too.
Book of Enoch, and they talk about mingling of species, right? And they talk about some potion that you give to women so they can do whatever they want and not get pregnant and ruin their figures. Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're talking about it's dehumanizing, right? There's no room for love there. You can define love to be anything you want, right? Who are the people saying love wins nowadays other than the LGBT? Right. As far as I'm concerned, pride parades are a victory parade. We've been under foreign occupation for 50 years in the entire Western world. It was an undeclared war, and we're being plundered like we lost the damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is tons of good. Yeah, absolutely there is.
There's lots of good out there. But I think we just need to reach into our souls. I think we need to reach into, again, even Mario Desetti's brought it up on the channel. We're just losing. Yeah. I think once we start losing the whole spirituality, that's why we had the time of Noah. That's why we had the time of Moses. That's why we had all these different secular parts of time that was broken up into chunks and then kind of repackaged into what we call history today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they hate the notion of family, the natural bonds between men and women and children and community, nation, nationality, ethnicity, ethnos, right? Nation will rise again and fight against nation. It talks about, like Jesus talked about that. Well, that's ethnos, that's ethnic groups, that's nationalities. There's been this attempt to make the iron and the clay, all of these different groups melt together and fuse together and form one people. It's at least figuratively rebuilding the Tower of Babel.
That's right.
It's not going to happen.
I was going to bring up the Tower of Babel, Genesis.
We're living, it appears to me, in the time of that mystery Babylon system, the mother of harlots. You see harlotry everywhere. You see the leaders of nations betraying their own clans, their own tribes, right? Okay. You see them having, as like I've said, unprotected intercourse with the world. And actually mystery Babylon, that's what it says. All of the kings of the earth have fornicated with her. Right? That's what's happening here. It's they're attempting to spread mental viruses, sexual viruses, economic viruses, and now literal biological viruses, which may have just been an unintended side effect of all of this.
Layla just
Yeah,
brought it
yeah.
up, the banana taped to the wall.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. All that is an assault on your sensibilities. That's what modern architecture is. It's called brutalist for a reason, because it assaults your senses. This is part of the reason they're so angry, because Trump said, well, all federal buildings from now on are going to be built in the classical style. There's places in Hungary where you had this Soviet architecture during the Cold War and the Iron Curtain and the Warsaw Pact. Okay, and they built these nasty looking things. Well, they're starting to get torn down, and they're starting to rebuild buildings in the classic European style. And it's going to create a lot of peace all by itself. There's golden ratios and means to architecture that are going to come back into style in a lot of places. It's going to be. You're going to have more colonial architecture here. You're going to have buildings here that look like, the turn of the century. It's not that life was so wonderful at the beginning of the 1900s, for example. Life was hard and it was brutal, but the reason that there was a lot of peace, and people that had a certain amount of social harmony, was a lot of it was because of the architecture. It was because of things that were pleasing to the eye. You took a sense of pride and belonging and community living in an area.
Like the whole town would get together and pitch in resources to build a church or build a temple or something, right?
That's right. And it was just
everybody would
understood
work
that you're going to do that.
and do their part, right? Well, I have a farm. Well, you feed the workers. Well, I could make bricks. Well, let's go. I could do this. I could engineer. I could this. I could work the pulleys and stuff. Yeah. It's like back in the day when everyone got together and built those cathedrals and stuff. They pooled their energy together to put something together that they could see a structure for life forever, and their kids and grandkids could see that my dad worked on that, my granddad worked on that.
Yeah, that's right. You can take some pride in it. Notre Dame took centuries to build. And think in Hagia Sophia, that used to be a church in what used to be Constantinople, right? Istanbul. Okay, and now it's the Hagia Sophia, and it's been converted into a mosque since the Ottomans took the place over. But I mean, it's still the largest dome of the ancient world, and it's absolutely beautiful and perfect. And yeah, I just want to scroll up here. There was something that someone said. Yeah, Mike Banks. But I know it's generational. The evil controllers will pass away soon while everyone else still talks. I think about that. I want to point that out too. Mike, we see in the churches and we see in our own society and we see in the kids today and things like, the kids today, because I'm over 50. Of course, I'm going to say things like that, right? But what you're seeing is a decline, in morals, and you're seeing a decline in wisdom, and you're seeing a lot of indulgence and immorality. Well, this is the thing about those elites as well, They might have been Luciferian and all the rest of it, or whatever their shtick was, but they still had what you would call classical Western values. They had families too. They had all of these things, and they taught it to their children. And for some reason or another, in the last 50 years, all of those values that we tried to transmit to the next generation didn't take. Those kids are just as corrupt. They're just as immoral. They're just as sexually incontinent. They're just as corrupt and self-centered as the church kids are, frankly now. And that's the problem. These are the ones that we're supposed to be ushering in the New World Order, and they're morons. That's a problem for them.
Again, it goes back to you can't call your wife your wife; it's your partner.
Yeah, and can you imagine someone saying that with a straight face?
Can you imagine someone saying that 30 years ago?
Oh, wow. Someone saying that now should get a smack upside the head. It's like, don't tell me what to say. Screw you. Don't tell me what to call my spouse and my significant other. I'm the husband. She's the wife. And if you don't like it, go live somewhere else.
Go to hell.
It's go to hell. Exactly. The idea is that these people have been given these trigger phrases that they use to go out and harass people with. They've been brainwashed to harass, to be degenerates. Yeah, Lord Humongous, exactly. They're degenerates. And Hitler was not the only person to use the term degenerate by any means. It was pretty common that this was all degeneracy. So it's it's something that you've got to, it's something that you got to fight, and it's got to start in your own heart.
Hill
And
Dog
you've
calls
got to.
him Hill Dog calls him deplorable, says the Raven.
She can les déplorables, you bet. She can call them whatever they want. Did you see how fast? This is what I mean about that Boyd cycle. She used the term deplorables at Trump's very next rally. What did they have? Remember that great big banner, that poster behind him that said les déplorables, like les miserables? Someone had that printed up and ready for his next rally. It was absolutely brilliant. But that's what I mean. You call them deplorable, and it wasn't some, she's calling that, and they're the real racists and all that. No, they ran with it. They ran with it. Yeah,
Just
anything
like when
you call us.
You know what that reminds me of? Do you remember when they made that dirty account about me on the dirty.com?
Yeah.
I ran with that, man. I loved it.
Absolutely. That's right. Miami Mike's Salsa Cartel, the baddest man in town. Just go with it, man. Definitely. Screw those people. They're morons.
Bunch of losers. Anyways, it's 12:32. Aren't you tired, dude?
Oh, I'm getting there. Yeah. You've got people in the world, folks, that are just extras. They're NPCs. They're just walking around.
Yeah, we haven't brought
You know
that
what
up
I
in a
mean?
while.
Yeah. Some parts of the gene pool have a section where peeing is allowed. Okay, just stay out of that part. Don't deal with them. Life is going to deal with them. Keep them out of your life as much as possible.
I know I can't prove karma's real. I just believe that there's some sort of a balance, and I know there's no way of scientifically proving it, but I do believe that there's something out there that's way beyond our capacity as humans, because we're not all that is everything, and we're not all everything that is all. So
the logos, my friend, everything self-corrects. It's like think of a spinning top, right? You push it one way, eventually it comes back, or a pendulum. You can put as much work into keeping that pendulum up there you want, but it's like the speed of light. The closer you get to the speed of light, your mass becomes infinite, and it takes more and more and more energy to try to keep going, and eventually you reach a part where something breaks, and then everything comes swinging back the other way. Just be careful, because, and I'm speaking just very briefly because I know some of you aren't, but just for you who have Christian beliefs as I do, as Mike does, okay, just remember, okay, we're living in the Mystery Babylon system. I think that's still true, and I think most of you would agree with that. The Mystery Babylon system rides on the back of the beast. That's where they get their power. Okay, they're Luciferians, right? We're talking about the devil, the serpent, and all the rest of that. Okay, whatever this interdimensional entity is. We're not going to see the mark of the beast until this entity destroys the Babylonian system. He's going to throw it all under the bus. Because it's not working. It's not going to work. Okay, so he's going to destroy the system himself. So, and the person who does it is going to be hailed as a deliverer. Okay, so head on a swivel, folks. Just don't trust anybody, especially if you consider yourself a citizen of the King of. Yeah, I'm not pre-raptured Tignem, but that's a long subject, and that's fine. At some point in time, we're all going. That's fine. Just remember that if you are a citizen of the kingdom of heaven, okay, you're a dual citizen here. You got to take a 30,000-foot view of all of this. You've got to be a little bit above the politics and above all of the turmoil too. That's where you find your peace. You're not going to find it here.
Yeah,
it ain't happening. So it's still the same. Occupy till I come. So you know that you're going to have some economic disruption. So prepare for it. Get out of debt. Store some hard assets. Get some food. If you're prepared at all, okay, you're ahead of 99% of people out there.
Oh, you got the jump.
You got the jump. Yeah, exactly. So, good for you. You rock. You're rock stars. Just keep doing that. All right. Spread the word if you can, but don't cast your pearls before swine. Don't laugh at people, or let people laugh at you. Don't share your truth. Here we can argue, but we're all still kind of on the same page, right?
All of
That's
us
fine.
are.
Yeah, but your family and your neighbors, you know what? Sometimes you just got to let people get hurt. That's all. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
anyway,
Supreme.
that's kind of all I have.
Go to sleep, man.
I'm going to sleep. Good night, everyone. God
Good night.
bless. Stay safe, and talk soon.
God bless. That is Supreme Cannon. Oh, yeah.
Gemini King, Mike in the night, and the Gemini crew. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another turn, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
Good night, everybody. God bless. Lots of love. Stay strong.